Thank you. All right, it is 7:02, it seems. On February 23rd, 2026, I'd like to call to order the Town Council monthly work session. Roll call, please.
Casanello,
Present.
Larson,
Here.
Gallagher,
Here.
Hader,
Here.
Capicello,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
BNA.
Here.
First item on this evening's agenda is a presentation from VML VACO on the Town Center funding analysis. Roberto, could you start us off, please?
I was actually just going to present that Steve Moe, Bryce here, and so is David. They're going to speak on the analysis concerning the town center project.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Steve Mulroy with VML VACO Finance. My colleague here is David McQuillan. I'm just going to start us off, but then hand it off to David to kind of run through the analysis. But just a brief word about VML VACO Finance. We were here in April. Appreciate the opportunity to come back, and this report really is an update to that report and has more detail about the project under consideration and updated financial information that was available. VML VACO Finance, we're the financial services arm of VML and VACO. Since inception, we've assisted with over $1 billion in financings. We're registered as municipal advisors. So this is the type of analysis that we do to help evaluate projects and whether they're affordable, how much debt, cash can you use, et cetera. And with that, I will turn it over to David, and then I'll come back at the end for a few more comments.
Hey, good evening. It's good to be back with you all. You could skip ahead a couple slides. One more. Here we go. So here's the outline of what we'll go over tonight. Start off with how we developed the financial forecast, what kind of assumptions or methodologies that we use to go about this. Look at some key metrics in terms of revenue and debt trends. Should take into consideration when making a decision on how to fund the town center project. We'll look at three different scenarios on how to fund it in a cash versus debt mix. And then we'll end with some conclusions in our recommendation. So to start off, we're looking at historical actuals of the fiscal 20 to 23 audit, the fiscal 24 draft audit, and then the fiscal 25 budget. This allows us to see what's been going on with the town in recent years in order to predict the future. Point two is tax rates are held constant throughout the projection, so we're not making any changes there. And then for each revenue or expense category, how are we going to go forward in the projection years? So the first year, fiscal 26, we're going to utilize the budget you already have in hand. It's a good resource to utilize the hard work that you guys did to come up with the budget. And then after that, we're using historical growth rates where we have a clear trend observed. So an example of that would be local sales and use tax. We've seen it grow about 2.5% every year. So we'll keep that rolling forward in the future. And then where there's no trend, we're going to apply an inflation factor of 3% or the fiscal 26 budget. Sorry, there's a typo there. Carried forward or some average of prior year assumptions. Those are for like smaller items, but something like personnel expenses we'd expect to keep growing in terms of like a cost of living increase. And then lastly, we're going to overlay our CIP from the fiscal 26 budget, excluding the town center project, which is kind of our variable that we're going to change around. And then we're going to make a recommendation to maintain a good structural balance. Here's a look at the current and projected revenue sources. So the 26 budget and then the fiscal 30, which is the end of our projection. The main story here is we are not really anticipating any large changes to the way your revenue sources are structured. Obviously, this big slice here and other local taxes, the list of what makes up that category is on the bottom there, but the big ticket item there is meals tax. This has certainly grown a lot in recent years. We've limited this to about a 3% growth per year just to be a little more conservative there. Next slide. Here's what we're seeing on the real estate side or the real property trends. So as assessed values have come up, you've reduced the real estate tax rate to kind of equalize that revenue source. So seen assessed value go up about 12.5% per year, tax rate down about 5% per year. And then revenue itself is about 4.1% per year. So assessed value increases being offset by tax rate decreases. Here's, I think this is maybe the third time we showed this, but it's a good picture to see, so leave it in there. Why not? You're currently debt-free as of August 2025, I believe. So this is showing, moving forward, you have real capacity and flexibility in how to approach funding bigger ticket items in CIP. So here's the details around our different scenarios. The total estimate of the project was $2.5 million. And then in all scenarios, we're assuming $445K in transportation proffers are being applied towards this amount. So that's a total project funding need of about $2.055 million. So our BAU, we're assuming funded all in cash. So in each case here, this is occurring in fiscal 27. This just gives us a baseline, like worst case is probably the wrong word, but you know, if you fund it in cash versus the different cash debt mixes, just gives something to compare to. Scenario one would be funded 75% by cash and 25% by a loan. Scenario two would be 50-50. And then scenario three would be 25% cash, 75% loan. We assumed a 15-year term, and the rate here is an implied treasury, based on the 10 and 20-year plus I think a 35 basis point spread, which is similar to what we've seen on similar deals that we've done in recent years. So the scenario one would result in an annual debt service of about $50,000. Scenario two up to $100,000, and then scenario three about $150,000. This is a little hard to see on the projector here, but this is the numbers of how the results look in the different scenarios. So the total revenues and expenditures are the same throughout. Really, our variable that we're tweaking is the cash outlay for the project, and then the debt service in terms of the scenarios where we're going out for funding, and then the resulting effect to the fund balance. So in the BAU, see that the fiscal 27, $2 million come out of fund balance essentially, and then the other scenario is similar. Scenario one is $1.5 million coming out, and then additional debt service each year. Scenario two, about $1 million, and a little bit higher debt service. And then scenario three would be $500K coming out of the fund balance, and then about $145 in debt service added on. In all the scenarios, I mean, we have a big outlay next year, but return to positive revenues over expenditures. And this next slide is just a graphical look at this. So in the fiscal 25 budget, we had about $280K of reserves funding this. So that's the dip compared to recent audits where you've been had very good positive results, especially fiscal 24. 26, about 70K reserves in the budget. And then the big drop here in the BAU, that's the $2 million outlay. And then the other three scenarios are less onerous in terms of a cash outlay. But again, returning to a pretty good level after that initial period where the cash is outlaid. The pink bar here is S&P publishes a adequate leverage metric of debt service as a percent of total expenditures. That's about 15%. You've been well below that as you've been paying down your debt over the years. And then in all scenarios where we do take out debt, we're still well below this level. So that's a good sign. And this is like in all three scenarios, a manageable amount of debt for the town to take on. Another fund balance metric, so your available funds. Again, with the recent audits, this has been climbing steadily. A little bit of dip in the next two budgets, and then BAU drops with that $2 million outlay. Scenario 1, 2, 3 in lesser severity, but again, continuing to trend upwards as the project's underway and the town can afford the debt service. Here's the fund balance as a comparison to total expenditures. So our recommendation for this ratio is a 60% rate. It's keeping enough funds on hand, if something were to happen, an economic downturn, some unexpected expense hits, you want to have that cushion to be flexible. And then S&P publishes a metric for a AA rated credit that's at 43%. So in all scenarios, other than the BAU, for just that 1 year, you stay above that AA metric, and then the 60% level is achieved in scenarios 2 and 3. But again, that's the only time it dips under is that fiscal 27 with the initial outlay. Here we're looking at debt as a percent of your taxable assessed value. The max per state code is 10%. BAU is 0, given you're debt free, and that would be full cash outlay. And then Fitch provides metrics for A and AA rated credits, and I've overlaid the max or the peak projected debt occurring when it's issued in fiscal 27 for 3 scenarios we discussed, all well below these comparative ratings from Fitch. Any questions before I move on to the conclusion here?
Anyone? No?
Okay. So overall,
Actually, good. I do have one.
yeah.
Everything I noticed in here was a 15-year loan. Is there any idea why we went with 15-year, not 10, not 30, not 25, anything like that?
So probably the most flexible approach, I'll get to this a little bit later in terms of your funding options. A bank loan we think is a good fit. And generally banks could go out to about 20 years, but 15 would likely be the most competitive or receive the most competitive bid in an RFP process. But we have also some data later on that shows different terms and what those sorts of payments will look like. But generally you should try and spread this expense out. It's a long-term project, long-term investment. Try and spread that out over the life of the asset.
Okay.
Would be
Thank you.
the thought process there. Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
I might as well ask now. So on your revenue projections
Yes.
for, FY 25 up to FY 30, I did note, I mean, it's slight, but looks like a slightly higher percentage is coming from property taxes. Were you assuming revenue from property taxes? I just want to clarify, is based upon what you have here, is going up, that revenue is going up 4.1% every year? Is that the,
Yeah,
is that the
so-
assumption you used?
So the thought here is that we're not, to kind of limit the variables, we're keeping the tax rate constant. So we would adjust along with property values. So yeah, that was our thought process.
So the
there.
rate remained equal.
Yeah.
The revenue because of assessment trend is is 4.1%
Yeah, and we
a year.
haircut it a little bit. I mean, we don't want to show I think it was 12.5% every year for assessed values going up. That seemed a little extreme, so we to be conservative, we're using that lower amount. Yeah.
Thank you.
So all the charts and metrics we just went through, Joe Haymarket's in a really good spot to fund this project. The BAU and then the three different scenarios show good indicators of financial stability. So this is definitely something you guys can take on. We think debt's an appropriate vehicle. You guys are debt free by the time the project is underway, and we should leverage this capability to spread the costs over a longer term. And it's nothing you haven't encountered before. The annual debt service payments are similar to the obligation you guys just paid off. So our recommendation would be the correspond to scenario 2, which would be a 50-50 cash and debt split. Your fund balance was well above the recommended threshold at the end of fiscal 24. So we think there's a good capacity there to use cash to pay down this project. You do have ARPA funds available as well, estimated about $1 million after the Park Sidewalk project is completed. So should be available to contribute to the project. Another good lever to pull. And then going forward with this scenario, you preserve a really healthy fund balance, be able to handle unexpected situations or a downturn in the economy. And you can put excess amounts towards future capital projects. I know there's maybe an interior redevelopment aspect to this project going forward. So. That's all I had. I'll turn it back to Steve unless there's further questions.
I have a
Alexander.
question, yeah.
Okay.
Going back to page 9, right?
Yes.
Looking at, for each scenario, the last line item, which is revenue less expenditures, right? So for FY 2026, it looks like, I don't think it's going to be the case, but based on your analysis, we're going to run a deficit, so to speak. Is that the case? I think what, negative minus 69,161?
Yeah. So in the budget, you had 69,000 funded using reserves. So if you look at revenues versus expenditures, that would make up the difference.
All right. And looking at the difference between the same line item between FY 2028, 29, and 2030, there is a considerable jump between FY 2029 and FY 2030. Just curious as to what the reason is for that.
I'm happy to dig into that. I don't necessarily have it offhand. It could be.
And all of them.
Yeah, what I'm looking at is 29, 2030 for all.
Yeah.
There is a considerable increase, so.
It could be in your CIP, kind of the other projects outside of the town center. I think that's probably the end of that 5-year period. So it could be just no more projects are planned for that year. But I'm happy to follow up on that.
The
Maybe you
reverters,
have some
yeah.
thoughts.
Yes, David speaking to it. We could definitely conversate, but the CIP item that he was working on at the time was ended at the 29 mark. So that's why you see that difference, because the CIP isn't scheduled that far off yet, just yet. but we'll be discussing that in the upcoming proposed budget.
Sounds okay. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So on the, the last section, excuse me, of the presentation, I think the question came up before about, execution, actually doing a financing. And it's on page, it should be on page 16. So just, briefly, as I mentioned when I first spoke, we help with not only planning, but also execution. So if the council so chooses to do, use debt financing, that's something we could assist with, going through that process. David and I are registered as municipal advisors, so that's, type of thing that we can do. And when we're working on the execution side of municipal advisory work, we work from start to finish in helping arrange a loan. So that includes, on the next slide, it includes, looking at the different alternatives, whether it's a bond issue, a bank loan, one of the state, funding programs, looking at the different alternatives to see what makes the most sense in, for your situation, the term that you're looking for. If 15 years, for example, is too short of a term, there's ways to go out 30 years, so we could look at the different options to really accommodate, what you're looking to accomplish. We can do bank loans, the government programs, standalone municipal bond issues. In this case, I would say, standalone would, a million or, up to 2 million is a little bit, it's kind of on the small side. Standalone bond issues generally are 10 or 20 million or more. But on page 18, and again, this I think was in response to the last presentation about what types of financing options are out there, and just kind of a brief overview of the pros and cons of the different alternatives. Here we just lay out, bank loan. Some of the advantages are they're very flexible. You can kind of schedule the financing when you're ready and close, typically within 60 days of when you start the process. Terms can be up to, as David said, up to 20 years. 15 years is pretty common, but you can go longer. The redemption feature of paying off the loan early is very flexible with bank loans. The financing costs generally are very low relative to other sources of funding. So you can, get the transaction, to close without a lot of out-of-pocket expenses. A bond rating is not required, and disclosures, if you have any experience with public bond sales, you'll understand that there's a lot of disclosure that takes place with them. Kind of an annual review of your operations and your financial reports and any events that may happen that you need to, put on the government has a website. You have to upload that information to make sure you're providing current information on your operations and finances. Bank loans are a lot more streamlined. You're just really providing your audit to the bank on an annual basis. The other option, very common and a good option in Virginia is Virginia Resources Authority. That is a pooled bond issue. So you're participating in a public bond sale as one of the participants. They have a set schedule. Generally May, they issue bonds in May and November. If they have enough demand, they'll also do one in the summer in August. There's a kind of a strict timeline or schedule that you kind of have to fall in place to meet that. It's typically a 90-day process where council has to give approvals. There's documentation that has to be prepared, et cetera. As I mentioned, you can do up to a 30-year term in that. So that is a real plus to this approach if you want to go longer term to keep debt service down. Financing costs, VRA has a 0.125% added to your debt service payment each year. There's also other closing costs and underwriters rating, bond counsel, other attorneys. So the closing costs, you're sharing them, so it's not as much as if you're doing it all on your own, but there are some additional costs to finance through VRA. The other thing that, they do go through a bond rating process, so that's also part of, it would be required. The last issue, as I mentioned, the public bond issue, I mean, typically you're not going to do that unless you have 10 or 20 million. So that's just a kind of a quick summary of the different options on, that you could use if you decide to issue debt and not fully cash fund. These are kind of three common options that would make sense that, to look at, for your situation. And I believe that is it on this section. So I don't know if there are any questions on that, but, really the analysis that we laid out, I think you have a lot of flexibility to pay cash, to come up with some combination of debt and cash. The town, based on decisions you've all been making over the years, the town is in, very good financial position. So you really are in a good spot to be able to take on this project.
Anybody have any questions?
Just a
No
comment.
comment?
Yeah, Steve and David, thank you so much. We were lucky enough to get a preview of this, so we were able to provide feedback, and thank you for including a lot of that feedback in it. One of the things on page 19, if you could just kind of go through the sensitivity analysis.
Oh, yeah. David, do you want
to? 19?
Page 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Did you hear me? Or no, I wasn't close enough. I didn't project well enough.
Yeah, so we went ahead and put this together based on your feedback. And then we actually had an additional request that is on page 21. I included it as an appendix. That was what I was mentioned earlier about the 5, 10, 15, 20 year term. So the page 19 is, kind of what happens as we move along interest rate and term durations. So it mostly just shows the effect of interest expense you're paying over the course of a loan versus keeping average payments down, kind of a suite of options. Not really that you can pick an interest rate, that would be nice. But that was the more conceptual. And then page 21, I went ahead and took the same approach when coming up with that rate for our different scenarios for the loan, the treasury plus a spread. I went ahead and did that for each term here, just to show the difference in interest expense or total interest expense, and then your average annual debt service.
Good.
And this would be for $1 million loan. And part of, what we offer for financing execution would be something like this. What can you expect? Obviously, a rate that you would get for a bank loan would be subject to an RFP process, but
Good. No, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yep.
Perfect. Any questions on this side?
Not a-
No? Alexander? No? All right. Thank you so much.
all righty.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Steve. So when we get to Roberto's section, we can talk a little bit about what they're doing.
Absolutely.
That's where I have questions.
I was going to say, I knew you had questions.
You saw me.
I saw you writing.
jotting down notes. Maybe we could have done it then, but I figured.
No, I feel like Roberto's probably
Yeah.
the better resource. All right, are you ready? All right, so we're gonna go to the town admin report. So we're on page 2. Emily,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, thank you, Mr. Casanello. It was hard to hear you earlier.
That happens a lot at home. Yeah.
Selectively, right?
Sure it doesn't.
I was gonna say, I don't believe that at all.
Do that or selective, like in my house.
Okay, so we'll jump right in. An update. I know Roberta was just asking me, so good moment to give an update on the park sidewalk. We are still waiting on them to fix the electrical issues that we're having with the brand new streetlights that they put up. So we are trying to have their electrician ensure that all of the lights are properly functioning, as well as the outlets that sit on those lights. I saw their team was out here, I believe it was Wednesday morning. They were on site doing some work. So as soon as they confirm that everything is up and functioning, we'll do another walkthrough, and that's the final item on that project. We just don't want to end everything and accept it over with malfunctioning lights. So it is taking a little bit longer there.
Any idea how long that will take?
They should have resolved it at the end of last week with their electrician team that was on site. That should have been wrapped up. What they'll do is they'll test everything again, probably this week, notify myself and our town engineer. It's ready for another walkthrough. We'll get it scheduled probably next week and go ahead and complete that process. We're having Matt also get up on the ladder and check each of the outlets, test it, plug something in. So
The weather impending that at all?
weather dependent, of course, yes. His safety first. Okay, so communications plan, GoGov app, both, functioning as previous. I think in the next couple of months, we'll get together with Vice Mayor and we'll do our kind of annual evaluation of that communications plan and what we have put in place since we passed it and adopted it, what we can change, what's working, and what could be added to. So we have that. I will say Julia and I were very excited. We officially got some requests through the GoGov app features, so people are utilizing it. We'll continue to share it out as we advertise with everything, to include the one pager that we'll discuss later this evening. Question already?
Question,
Yes.
since we're on the town park,
Okay.
the thing that the Kiwanis Club sent us about the little library.
Yes, so I was out of office at the end of last week, but the Kiwanis had reached out. They would like to add some, I think it was greenery, some clean up the area around where they have their little library, also talk about adding signage to it. So we'll work with them. If council's okay with it, I saw this as an administrative task that we can handle easily. Yes, so thank you for bringing that up. We will ensure that's taken care of. Stormwater assessment program. So in March, we have the survey team coming out. We met with them about a week and a half ago, and they said it'll be a 6-week time frame. They will be making contact with homeowners, sending out notification to them. As we get a little closer and we have the finalized dates of when they're on site, we will also be sending out information so that everybody is aware. They'll be in the town for about 4 to 5 days, just weather dependent. And once they get out there and start doing the surveying, seeing what else they need to dig through everybody's backyard, so forth and so on. Yes.
Yes, sorry, but I have to ask this. Since we had a number of folks here from that community, we're continuing to keep them advised as to what's happening?
Yes, we're keeping them advised on a couple factors. So we're working with them. This is for Robinson Paradise neighborhood that is across the 66 corridor there, over off of the left-hand side. So we're keeping them informed on what's happening with D.R. Horton and closing out those bonds and the finalization of the Robinson Paradise neighborhood. We're also keeping them in the loop with the Buchanan partners, who are going to be the new developers that are on the north side of them in the county. I've done an introductory email with one of the partners, and so Russ has been very generous to reach out and try to set up one-on-one meetings with each of those homeowners. Right now, I will say that Russ confirmed only one person's taken him up on that, so I'm going to continue to encourage that they contact him. They were talking stormwater management for that neighborhood. He really wanted to hear them out, make sure that his development wasn't further impacting their issues they're having. So, yes, very involved in that conversation.
I do have a question on that.
Yes.
You've only heard from one person. How are we reaching out to them?
Russ made direct contact. We have an email chain that we have going. And so two of the ones who are very active in the email are two of the ones who did not respond. So I've made sure to follow up with them and say, did you get Russ's email? But he's keeping me on all of the correspondence so that I can also see what's coming through. And then if they keep me copied, that's up to them.
Just want to make sure that we're making sure that,
Yes, and
Yeah,
he
we're
met them
making-
here.
make sure that they are able to communicate.
Yes, it's all with emails that we've been corresponding on back and forth, that they got looped in. And he also made contact and met a lot of them here during a open house that they had for that development.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Any other questions on stormwater or the survey team? Okay. And we continue to do county meeting updates about every 4 to 6 weeks, dependent on what we're progressing on. So we'll meet again ahead of surveying. And then I'm sure we'll be working with the survey team closely while they're in town. Lydia is working through several zoning violations. One was an official violation that is one that's going to end this week. We gave a 2-week extension based on the inclement weather we had and the snow that could have delayed work that needed to be done. All of the work was exterior work, so we were working with the property owners. Property owners came in and had a good meeting with Lydia, so she'll have some more traction on that project. There is another zoning violation that we are working with the business owners. So we came in, had a preemptive meeting conversation with them to go over what the issues were on site. It's over in the industrial area and it does neighbor a residential property. They've been very wonderful to work with. They are cleaning it up. They're very aware of what needs to be done. And they'll also be coming in and applying for appropriate screening with fences and plantings so that they can continue to be good neighbors. So very happy with how that's progressing. We had business roundtable a couple weeks back. So that was our kickoff meeting for 2026. I would note that our attendance was down just a little bit. We have had some of the members who were pretty active in that group. They've moved out of the town due to different factors, to include raising rent prices. So I figured I would just kind of mention that along to the council. One of them relocated to another town about 5-10 miles down the road in another county. Another is chosen to do an online platform, and another has closed their business. So we'll kind of keep everybody updated on that. I'll meet with Vice Mayor. We'll have conversations, see if there's anything that we can do further on resources or helping them out. But we did have a couple new faces, so a couple new businesses that hadn't either been yet or they are new to the town. So that was a welcoming sight to see. Strategic plan, jumping ahead there. We have hopefully that final draft for tonight's discussion and moving to adopt that as early as our next meeting next week. Arts Van Gogh is fully up and moving into the museum. We had our plumbing issue fixed last week and we had to wait on a part to come in, and then Matt was checking everything out today and there's another small leak. So the plumbing team came right back out. We're going to see how it holds, keep an eye on everything. So he's doing a great job monitoring it on a daily basis and keeping a close eye. So we will ensure that all is well there, but Dawn is moving in. The CXO held a meeting with all of the town managers, very brief meeting we had last Tuesday. This was supposed to be the budget conversation with the CXO. I will say it was a 15-minute meeting, and the CXO just generally presented what is proposed when it comes to tax rates, and then what some of their bigger items were for their upcoming budget. Just last week on Tuesday evening, they did their budget presentation to the board. So that is available in a recording if council or anyone is interested in going and watching that. Actively working on the compensation study with our consultant. We are in the data upload phase. So a lot of data information is being uploaded with them, and we'll keep progressing. We'll have weekly check-ins on Friday mornings. We kind of already covered the Robinson Paradise. Otherwise, maintenance and town hall, business as usual, addressing maintenance concerns as needed. And then this evening, you'll see we have quite a few policy drafts in front of you. So we'll go through those in more depth during the agenda. Land use planning. If there's anything that anyone has specific questions about, I'm happy to answer. Just a few general updates. The Chick-fil-A site plan for the second drive-through will be ready for signature this coming week. So we will sign that, and we are expecting bonds to be submitted in a quick fashion afterwards, and they will be working on construction soon. They have requested a waiver of the noise ordinance to do some construction in the night hours as to not disturb the surrounding businesses. Specifically, it would appear the bank business and the dentist office, being that they will have to expand their one full lane onto that property. So we're going to be talking internally, myself and Chief, on what that looks like and impacts to the surrounding area, to include the residential neighborhood that's now back there. So if there's any comments or insight, please feel free to share that.
And delivery times for businesses that are closed, but they have things come outside of hours.
Yes. So we're working on getting a full construction schedule of what those hours would look like and the duration. Is it work that needs to be done over the course of a week, or is it multiple weeks into months? Right now, they're saying it's a very quick construction phase because it's all exterior. There's no internal build out or anything that needs to be done to the structure itself. So we're still getting some of those timelines submitted from them
And then with the bank and,
on their deliveries.
yep, exactly.
Question. What kind of hours they're talking about?
That's what we are waiting.
Any
If it's gonna
sense?
be like 10 PM to 6 AM, so we're waiting on those hours.
And I guess who's going to be responsible for notifying the residents, the 79 condos? Is that us? Is that them?
So I think it would have to be a combination effort.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. If it's granted.
Okay.
Mhm.
And this is strictly site plan development, so it's pretty
Yes.
much the roadways and the parking, right?
Correct.
Any indication on if there are improvements for the build out of the rest of the property there, the corner?
The Lidl spot, that parcel?
The corner where the hotel is projected.
We are actively working. We have an upcoming meeting this week on that parcel. The developer's coming in. So it's no longer the original developer. That parcel sold. And so the person who now owns that and is going to build out the hotel and the small retail pad in front of Kitty Academy, they'll be coming to meet with us. They're going to kickstart their preliminary site plan again.
Another follow-up on that question. I noticed some piping there, concrete piping.
In
Just
that area.
mobilization, or is it the just lay down area?
Let me check in on that. I know that they had to do some paving in the back area of that trench that they had left open. It had gravel on it, but they had to pave that. They also had to take care of removing the stockpile that they had on site. So let me check in on that stormwater pipe.
All right, thank you.
Mhm. It's in that behind the CVS area?
Yeah.
Okay. The only other bigger site plan items, we are having quite a few conversations on the storage lot areas. If you're familiar with where the private railroad crossing is, there's 2 storage lots, open lots to either side of the road there. So there is interest. There's a couple different people who are interested in purchasing it. It's currently up for sale. So we have been meeting with quite a few people, one in-town business looking to expand over there. We're putting them in touch, having the appropriate conversations and connections with the rail company, and just making them aware of all the factors on site, to include the RPA as well.
Question, actually.
yes.
I don't see the property for redevelopment that's at the intersection of St. Paul and Washington Street. That's,
Oh, yes, 14881.
don't give me on the address. I just,
Okay, so the reason it's not in here is that there's not been an official submission yet for a site plan. So they're still in the, I would say, early stages of securing an engineer and working through that. We can start tracking it. We just held a pre-application meeting, if you will. They have not yet done up their site plan, but we just talked with their engineer to kind of get the lay of the land and understanding of the town ordinances.
is that the Watts property?
Yes, that's the Watts
I just-
property. Mhm.
I'm interested in that one simply because I was ARB
Mhm.
and planning commission at the time. And I know part of the reason that we approved the demolition of the property there was that whatever thing new came in would, kind of pay homage to what was going on in the history of that property beforehand. I just want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
tracked to make sure that that's there.
I
you know?
can definitely start adding it. I can work with Lydia to add it. We typically don't start tracking it until an official application's been made. So in this scenario, they're kind of in an in-between phase, but we can add it back in there.
I mean, Justin, y'all can tell me I'm in left field on it, but that's kind of my beliefs. Because both it's ARB planning, all that stuff is you all. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I just remember when I was in there.
So you're in pre-application process and
First site plan.
for the site plan.
Mhm.
And then once the application's submitted, then it would go on the tracking.
But we can go ahead and add it. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
We'll stick it on there.
If you want it added, I don't,
Well, there's be a lot of stuff we'd have to add. So I think we're okay with leaving it off during.
They'll probably
pre-application.
make an application in the next month or two anyway, so
Yeah,
it's
if we do
really,
that, we have to do lane motors, and we have to do a
Right.
bunch of other stuff. So
Right.
I'm okay with it staying off for now. that I
Okay.
think about it.
any other land use development questions?
There is stuff in here that shows that we're reaching out to different people to proceed, things like that. How long do we do that for before we say,
Depends on the project. So we have some people who, for example, they need to submit their as-built, so they need to get with their engineering company, come out, do their surveying and all of that. In those scenarios, we're holding all of their bonds. Bonds won't be released until they complete the as-built phase. So a lot of what we're seeing is that they've had changes in people staffing it, so it's taking us a little bit longer to get to the proper contact. We have seen that a good bit lately.
anyone else?
That, was there one more?
Nope.
Okay, that's about everything I have, unless you have any specific questions.
So I think we're good.
Status of
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Alexander.
street lights, replacing the light bulbs. Where are we with that?
Yes, so we need to get our contractor in here. We have been on a delay with getting them scheduled to come in because one thing or another has come up. So we'll reach out. We will try to get it scheduled. If it can't happen in the next week or two, we'll go ahead with another contracted electrician.
Okay. And I don't know if anyone has noticed, but there's one light out here where the lens, whatever it is, dangling. So
Yes, so we have that sometimes happen in the high winds, especially what we've had over the weekend. We've only ever lost one pole to high winds. Thankfully, it was tucked over here on our property, but we do sometimes have the acorn covers that will blow around and sometimes will blow over and dangle. But I'll talk with Matt tomorrow and see if it's something that he can access safely. If not, we will alert that it needs to be a priority with the
what I'm
contractor.
concerned about is someone walking and the thing
Yeah,
falling
absolutely.
on them. So, okay.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Okay,
Can we put Julie in the spotlight for a minute?
certainly.
And
Julia's looking at you like, hello, sir.
No, this is just a conversation.
It's just,
I was just looking at your report and you were looking for some ideas for the summer concert, like themes and what have you. Have you had any further thought on that? Because I might have one idea, but
I'd love to hear
it's
it.
not very original though, but,
Yeah, let's hear it.
well, I mean, it is our 250th birthday.
We have talked about that.
Okay.
We also talked about that being the theme for the parade for Haymarket Day.
Oh, you read my
Thank you,
mind.
Yep.
How did you
sir.
know?
So yeah, great idea.
So you're thinking through a bunch
Yep.
of scenarios.
Yep. I didn't think doing the same theme for both summer concert and Haymarket Day, so I just have to pick which one we want that to be.
There
But
It could just be
Joe's-
one big.
I
party.
agree,
Joe's
yeah.
thinking there could be cost savings if you take that.
I mean, it would be an easy theme to decorate, and so yeah,
Okay, cool. All right,
we're on the same wavelength.
all right, good.
There were some great costumes at the Olympics with some of
I
the
was
fan
just gonna
support.
say, those were amazing.
You know, especially Miss Haley Wynn's three brothers. So we could
Yes.
deck council out in some great
Oh, I feel like those were
costumes.
the outfits. Thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
And we'll come back to Julia later in the meeting on the one pager. So
There is one thing, one other
yes.
thing.
Mhm.
If you recall at the round table, the young lady was there from the Iceplex.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and they're doing their cancer, their Hockey Fights Cancer program on
Yes.
March 28th. So can we help them promote that?
Yes, and I believe Chief has made connection with them and he is in conversations with them as well. And then also Brooke from Studio B has reached out. We're starting coordinating conversations. It'll be between Chief and also Kim will help us share information about their event they do where they shave heads for St. Baldrick's.
They have
It's-
Baldrick's.
two salons, because Ash is actually participating in that this year as well.
And
Oh,
Tranquility
Yes,
also.
yes.
is-
So we've
So
got
I
some in
think
business.
one of
in-town
each of you
businesses.
needs to get your head shaved at the different salons,
will
right?
not
We'll
be
start
me.
with Olan,
That is not me.
and then we'll hit Joe.
There's not much.
Yeah,
Oh, I
not,
think
not much
maybe
else for me
I can
either.
hold the
If they want to
shears.
polish it, I'll let them polish it.
I'll hold
She
shears,
will do
somebody
it.
polishes, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, so we'll definitely make sure to share that. Also, if you guys didn't see it in your email come through yet, there is a ribbon cutting on Friday at 2 p.m.
At the firehouse?
The wind blows our door open. That's what
Kitty.
keeps happening. So we have to latch it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Kitty Academy. Yep. Okay.
I'm a maybe for that. I have to shift some meetings around.
Cool, thank you, oh,
Quick one, feedback for, I think it's a Studio V.
Yes.
Love their love sign, but they did go through the proper channels for the temporary signage and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay,
They did not. Thank you for bringing it up. So we can issue the violation letter. We can go through that process. I know that we also, as a group, were discussing updating or looking at our sign ordinance to see how those love signs and other artworks fall into it. So we were trying to work on getting some of these other policies in place that we had been working on prior. We can certainly start addressing the sign ordinance next. Yeah.
yep. And just for transparency, like I said, I love them, but the ordinances aren't there yet. I did put that in my comp plan prioritization as one of the higher prioritizations. Because if we do want to move forward with the artwork in town,
Yeah.
we do got to get these ordinances
We do.
taken care of.
And I will tell you guys, I mean, accolade to Miss Lydia, but she has a laundry list. She'll be getting with Olan and I probably very soon on some little things that we have found in the zoning ordinance as well that need to be addressed. So it'll probably be something that I come to you with sign ordinance draft. We look at that, but we're also working on a zoning ordinance draft update at the same time or in line with it. They're both in the same ordinance section together, chapter 58.
makes sense.
Any other
you.
questions?
Anyone?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Chief, you
awesome.
may now approach.
Chief, you are next.
I was kind of hoping the chief had his uniform on from the.
I just want to
Polar
know
plunge.
about pictures from the 14th. That's what I.
Yeah.
From the four, oh, I wasn't able to take too many pictures. Oh my, who wants to see a cannonball, right? Yeah.
Well, I
Good to
was
be
think-
here.
I
Good
was
to see you.
thinking one of the Axion body cameras would have been perfect for that one.
I'll check their waterproof ability before next year, and maybe I can give you a little blurb of how it feels, how it looks. It's good to be here. Good to see you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Starting on page 1 of my report, I'm not sure what it is in the agenda, but basically I had 111 calls for service, and 81 of them were dispatch calls for service, which was not our peak. Obviously, you can see in our 5-year trend, but placed a good second place. And then our direct contacts were down, but overall, our combined calls for service was not our highest, but definitely not our lowest either. But we're maintaining just fine. Nothing alarming in any of that. Great news on our business checks, though. That was a peak for us, 3,428 in the 5-year trend. If you look at that, we were able to do that, especially in such a cold month. And with snow and ice and a little bit of everything else out there. Then our response time remained very flat at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Traffic stops were at 100. There was 32 summons issued, and then a typo on my part, but 68 warnings given. And then you'll see just below that the 4-year traffic trend as far as traffic stops, and then the summonses issued by violation. And then as you go on to the next page, you'll see the graphing on that, as well as the traffic summons 4-year trend. Moving on down, that will give you the individualized charges. Of course, you know that's aggregate, so that's why everything's low right now. You compare it towards the end of the year, but it shows you where we usually end up. And when you look at all the peaks and valleys, they're very consistent with the previous 3 years. DMV grant, we've already went over that. There's still 6 weeks reporting left in the current quarter, so you won't get that until more like April, if I'm able to get the data together at the end of the March before that meeting. But more than likely, probably the April work session is when you'll see another update on the second quarter of the DMV grant. Moving on to arrest, 4 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. And then hours spent on calls for service was a total of 115, divided between calls for service and follow-up investigations. Out-of-town activity was down 22, and then agencies coming in to back us up was down as well to 2, with 2 hours spent by those agencies in town. A traffic volume report, you'll notice a little remarkable downtrend across the board. Directly related, when you pull out the daily runs, you can tell that it was due to the weather that we received is the reason. So our eastbound traffic was down roughly 6,500 vehicles over the total of the month. And then the breakdowns as far as the weekly traffic, you can see that third week was where a lot of it was at in January. Speed data, you can see that was also down because of the snow and ice. Going on to the westbound traffic again, you'll see 7,000 vehicles off there. And again, that third week, you can see that's where it was at when we were in the thrushes of the snow and ice. Speed data was down as well with that. And then status of current projects. Planning continues for the 3rd annual senior summit. That is an April date for that. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Things are going well. We're currently still in the procurement status for the drone replacement. We're also still working with Motorola Solutions for cameras to be installed in the cars. That's looking like it will happen next month. All AEDs have been received from the Firehouse Subs grant that Officer Galbraith wrote. We do have them, and we have now set a date with Firehouse Subs to do an announcement. And I think they're going to do like a little fun event there for children and maybe some discounts or free food. I'm not sure. I'm not speaking for them, but they're going to spin something up. And I did invite Julia into that collaboration from the Firehouse Subs owner. We're still continuing our planning and research on e-summonses. We met with another vendor last week. All of the first aid kits have been deployed. Our new ones are updated ones. We did borrow some equipment for the storm. We did return that from Prince William County Emergency Services just in case that we needed it. We had it in-house and wouldn't have to go to Manassas to pick it up. Went to the polar plunge. It was nice outside and cold in the water. Shocker there. Raised overnight. The conglomerate raised over $90,000 for Special Olympics. We supported the Friends Don't Let Friends Drive Drunk in February for the Super Bowl. And then Officer Galbraith obtained a warrant for a sexual assault case that he was working. Also obtained a abduction charge stemming from the subway robbery that we had last year. That case was going to plead, but we're now going to take it to trial. Officer Nick Brogan has accepted a position with another agency and has resigned. Officer Coppich and Sergeant Finley spoke to students at St. Michael's Academy on law enforcement. Of course, everybody knows about the snow impact. I don't have to go over that at all. Especially Councilman Beignet and Joe. You guys got it the worst. And then an individual that Officer Coppich had charged last year with possession of a scheduled substance was located in PG, Maryland, and we have extradited her back. Officer Galbraith assisted Prince William County in locating a lost child. Fauquier County Sheriff's Office requested our assistance along with Prince William in a pursuit that was recently happened where we would deploy spike strips. We continue to work on the 2025 annual report and hope to have that out soon. Sergeant Burgoon and Officer Galbraith worked on our phone tree in our office, got it maximized in its potential. It's working really great right now. And then these are 3 items that's not on your list, but I did want to bring up to speed because they had happened this week. I did submit the DMV grant, which had to be submitted by February 28th in the amount of $27,250, $20,400 for salaries and hours, $800 for training, and then $6,000 in equipment. And so we'll get the word on that probably in the next month or 2, but it has been submitted. We also received the Lowly grant application, the 2026 Lowly grant application, which we could access $1,211. And I have applied for that grant as well, which also had to be in by February 28th. Upcoming events. I know we've already talked about a few of them. We still haven't scheduled our women's self-defense class. Our instructor's having some issues getting it. We will get that scheduled. We will do support the vehicle safety recall week, and the buzz driving is drunk driving for St. Patrick's Day. Looking forward to St. Baldrick's so I can get rid of these white caps, as Roberto so efficiently responded at me, or mocha caps, or I'm not Santa caps. I'm not sure what you would classify it as. And then we did contact, after email, did contact Kara down at the Iceplex. And we were trying to get together today to do some video stuff and support marketing for the cancer awareness thing. And I have sent out the information to Fairfax, Loudon, and Prince William to try to develop some teams to go that day as well. But we'll be doing some other stuff and coordinating with the town hall side as well. So we are working on that. Back to you, Mayor.
So quick question. I no longer have kids in school, but I hear that school is being pushed out a little bit due to the snow. So will that affect any of the activities like the ice cream social and?
It will. If they do extend school out, I have not made me aware of that, but if they do extend school out, then it will be on the official last day.
Okay.
And we will reschedule that according to that because, it's an event for them to get off the bus and take part in it. So
Exactly.
we don't want to change any of that. We want to keep it for when they're done that day that we
Okay.
get into it. So, yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Sure, absolutely. If I may.
Yeah.
Hey, Chief, I noticed you're putting together your annual report.
Yes, sir.
Are you going to present that to us or is it just going to be distributed?
Well, usually I distribute it, but I'll be glad to give a formal presentation on it.
Well, let me ask what council thinks, because I think it would be a great idea to present it to the council and we can stream it so people can see what their police department's doing.
Yeah, no, glad to
That's
do
where
it.
I'm coming
Especially
from.
with the accreditation.
Yeah, glad to do it. No, we'll make sure that happens. As you know, there's a lot of delayed data that comes in on our IBR reporting and NIBRs. And so we like to make sure those figures are all solid before we do the report. Matter of fact, I got one annual report from last year that came out in August for the previous year. So, it just depends on the amount of time that the agency can vote to it and make sure they get that document out. And then some agencies don't do it all, but I think I've always felt it's very important. It's transparent. And then, obviously you got a booklet that you can look at anytime to see, the taxpayer can see what their money's being spent on.
Yeah.
So I think it's a grand idea.
Thank you, sir.
I do
Anyone else?
have one comment. I sent an email out to everybody late last week about, I see the e-bikes all over the place. And as the weather gets warmer, I think we're going to start seeing more of them out there. I'm just trying to get a better idea of.
Yes, received your email, went ahead and put Sergeant Finley on top of that. He's already done a little bit of studying and he fired an email back to the group of us at the PD about what he's seen. And of course, he's out there on the bike a lot, and understands the ebb and flow of that. And he does feel that there is a need to preempt it and make sure that we're good. We're not at a terminal velocity point for it right now, but it would be better to have it in place than rather trying to get that ordinance or that legislation pushed forward so that we can enforce those laws. And of course, one of the things that he's seen in his report or when he was making his report is the fact that you get a lot of them rolling on the sidewalks and hitting people or causing issues. And then the day after that you sent that email, I actually got a blurb where it was like, I don't know what you would call it, an e-bike rage incident where a bike had hit another bike and they got into a fight and there was video of it. So yeah, it was kind of weird that you sent that email and then the very next day. Well, it was the day after that I seen it. So no, we probably will be presenting something on that. And then we also have some other ordinance stuff that we're gonna work with Olon on a measured
I
time
don't know
frame.
if they should be on sidewalks or if they should be on bike lanes because they're not bikes, but yet they don't have a license plate, so they shouldn't be in traffic lanes.
Right. No, we're going to address all that with the report back to you and the rest of the council on that ordinance. Much like, Sergeant Burgoon is doing tonight on another ordinance that we want to look at. So we'll have all that information forthcoming, but we want to make sure that we address it, but we address it properly and not reinvent the wheel, but also not take on bad characteristics of other jurisdictions' ordinances.
Yep. Put air in the tire, don't reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
Anyone else? Alexander?
Yes, Chief.
Sir.
Quick question for you. Do out-of-town activities fall under dispatch calls for service?
No,
They
they
do not.
actually do not.
Okay.
No, because other than the fact that we track that we go there on our daily rundown, we won't, 99 times out of 100, we will not generate a report on it because we're just trying to support the outside agency until they arrive, till they get there. Much like that child that was, well, he kind of ran away from his home, but he was out in extremely cold weather. And of course, so Jimmy was close. He was there, he took an active role in it, but he didn't have to generate a report because it didn't happen in the town. And Prince William was able to document what efforts he put forth. So no.
Thanks, Chief.
No worries, my friend.
Thank you.
No worries.
Appreciate it. All right, so that's going to take us to our monthly financial report. So we're on page 21, Roberto.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As far as the financials, I'm not sure if anyone has actually had the opportunity to take a look at them and if there's any specific questions on it.
I have a couple comments. I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, of course.
Sure. I just want to applaud the fact that good money management here. If you look at the interest on bank deposits, I love that. So that and what else was I looking at the other day? The legal services. Good money management. So great job.
I'm still waiting on the new rates though, so we'll see.
Right. We'll be kind, don't we?
Yeah.
That's my only comment. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I also see on here, typically the salary lines are showing like, low 60%, even though we're kind of closer to, I guess, 70, 75. I'm assuming these are, off by a month.
No, there's a few key factors. When we budget for the merits on size, but evaluations haven't done yet. They're coming. But they're behind by a payroll cycle, not a month, but
Okay.
yeah, by a payroll cycle.
But they will catch up.
Mhm.
And we're at about 67% of our budget right now.
Yeah, because I saw like the police department and I think even administrative staff, it was like about 63 reported. So
Good eyes.
just was wondering how far off we were on our
Yeah,
report.
it will, and we also have an additional cycle in there. One of the months we had a 3 payroll cycle versus the standard biweekly. So yeah,
Yeah.
it'll all work out at the end though.
Yep, I kind of figured, just wanted to get an idea of what the lag was.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Nope. And then the trash contract, paying up to January
Yes.
service.
Yes, so this contract, unlike the prior vendor we had, we would pay up front for the month. So so we've just paid January's on February 2nd. So we are on track to be within the budget. Mhm.
Yeah, I guess to continue on with the percentage on where things track, I see the insurances are usually at about 90%. I'm assuming we're paying in front and
Yes, that's a front-loaded cost
Front-loaded.
In July. We see it every year. It's one of the front-loaded costs, along with we won't have it this new proposed budget, but usually our debt obligation too. But the goal is to with this new debt, if that gets funded, we're looking to do something where we're going to do the payments mid-year and towards around May when the town actually has current funds versus, but that'll be a discussion for later, next week and so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yep.
Anyone else? Justin? Good. Alexander? Good.
Okay. The next item.
Yes.
The next agenda item.
I was
the
like, don't.
budget work, yeah. So today I was just hoping to get the blessing from council, the authorization directive to move forward with the planned public hearings. This will be the real estate public hearing to be held with the fee schedule to be held on April 6th meeting. This will be the opportunity for the public, to come and give opinions and thoughts when it comes to all the rates, not just real estate, but the real estate is the biggest one there. To address that, the budget next week, you'll see it, but I am going to be proposing a flat tax rate. There will be an increase, though, due to the assessments, but the actual rate itself will be flat, meaning that currently we have a 0.98 per 100. That's the same rate we're going to promote. This public hearing, if you guys are okay with it, when we do the public notice, it won't go any higher than the 0.98 that we're recommending, which is just a flat tax rate, but there still will be an increase due to assessments. It can't go any higher after that. All it can do is go lower or stay the same. So it's just for formality to have that meeting, that real estate tax on April 6th. And then the other one would be the FY 2027 budget public hearing, which we hope to have on May 4th. This will be the budget that we will have a discussion over, present to as we're working through it, but it'll be the final budget that council will be reviewing for consideration for adoption on June. Again, opportunity for the residents and any members out there, the constituents that would like to come and comment on it or, have their opinions on it to be heard. Just kind of want to stick to a similar schedule we did in the past, so we're not scrambling at the end of June to get the budget adopted. I believe this year we've been working with the finance committee. We've been holding meetings weekly all of February, and hopes to try to iron out some of the bigger questions. So obviously when council, similar to the investment policy, iron out some of the kinks and stuff, and when we bring it up to council, it's a pretty solid budget to look at, review, and have an open discussion with council as a whole in the work sessions.
To clarify, the assessments are through the county.
Correct.
Okay. The flat tax rate on your real estate would be flat within the town.
Within the town. I know that the county currently right now, it's a moving target, but I know that they're having scenarios. They're having a bunch of scenarios. Obviously, I think we've always had the discussion. They have other avenues of taxation that they can do. So they're looking at other scenarios and hopes to maybe adjust or reduce some of the county taxes. But I believe Shorter presented a flat tax rate currently. That's their proposed budget. I can tell you, Vice Mayor, to your point, this year, I think with finance, we had discussed this, how the assessments are starting to see that flat plateauing. And we know the past couple of years, we saw a huge increase of all the new construction and everything. This year, it looks like a 4.2% increase from prior year. I believe once I get that in data, full data, I believe it's probably going to come more on the commercial side versus the residential sides. But that'll be, once we have that discussion, we will talk about it. But kind of aligns to what David was saying in what they see in the forecasting future, that it's starting to kind of taper down when it comes to those assessments. So, so I guess the question now today is just hopefully to get a directive from council to move forward with some of these public notices. They are time sensitive. We just want to make sure that we have it out there, the information out there for the public. But again, when it comes to the real estate, once we announce this, it cannot go any higher. And that's not something we would look to do anyway. That's not what we're going to present to council as a whole when it comes to the budget, proposed budget.
And the time sensitivity is, remind me of the number of days that you need to be.
So we have to have it 2 weeks,
2
1
weeks.
week, 1 week prior to the public hearing. So we would have to have it in the papers and public notice publicly a week before April 6th. And then the same thing with the budget on May 4th.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So the rate hearing is on the 6th,
April 6th, yes.
April 6th, right?
Correct.
And the budget hearing, May 4th.
Yes.
Okay. Super. And the effective tax increase would tied to the assessments is roughly 4%.
Yeah, overall, it's a 4% increase from prior years. Yes, compared to
But
prior.
How it's distributed, you still don't know yet.
Still do not know because we don't have the final documentations. Usually, it's because it's pretty early. The county does work with me and gives me an estimated assessment, which is on par, pretty on point by the time we get the actual numbers. Right now, it's just a lump sum. Once I get all that data, I'll be able to break it down even further. But that'll be around mid-March.
Okay.
But you did get the, so we've been working in committee, right?
Mhm.
And discussing this stuff, and there's a bunch of placeholders
Mhm.
because we don't have as much information as we would like to have with certain assumptions being made. So you did get some information on the healthcare costs.
Yes. So the healthcare cost this year did go up. Last year was a 12% increase. This year it's a 22.7% increase. We will discuss in the budget I can tell you that the budget right now is still it definitely works. The operating budget still works with the flat tax rate, keeping up with some of the CIP plans and everything. And with the unknowns, there's like 2 or 3 matters out there. I know there's still unknown where that will land and how council would move on that, but there is still funds there. It's not sustainable. It still works. So we'll get into that once it comes in the March work session. But obviously, we have the presentation next week on Monday of the kind of the summarize of the proposed budget.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
So are you
I was
looking
going to
for
say,
directive?
we can do a directive this evening, correct? Okay. So is everybody on par with, giving the blessing to go ahead and do these public notices being time sensitive? Perfect. Thank you. There you go.
No objection.
No objection. Thank you.
Good. No objection.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Next thing. So I know we talked about the policy, but here's just the draft motion that I'd hope the council would entertain for approval next week. And in the draft, we did send it to our town attorney, hoping to get feedback from him on it. But I think, I don't know if you all have had time to read the resolution, but it's just basically to acknowledge the adoption and kind of state the reasons why this council is looking to do this policy, implement it. Obviously, I'm still waiting on Olan, to make sure he's okay with the wording and everything, but definitely wanted to put something there today to see if this is something they can adopt next week if they're ready to do so.
Sure, I'll have a look at it.
Yep. And Councilman Capicella, I know that you stopped by on Friday. We were talking about it on when it comes to the percentages of what we're allowable. I had told you that we go per the state investment policies. And if you were to look on page 7, where it tells you the sector limits, kind of shows you how much monies we can put into some of these funds. I think that was a question you had on Friday when we were talking.
Yep.
So hopefully that helps address what you were asking akin to that.
Anyone? Again, I stand by what my previous comments were. I enjoyed reading it and appreciate the definitions.
Okay. So I guess we'll just, hopefully we'll have one blessed by the town attorney on Monday. We'll get on that agenda item. And if there are any thoughts on the resolution you see in here, please let us know.
Yeah, we had to wrestle a little bit and no, this I think it overall came out really, really well. So,
Yeah, I
Thought
only
it
had
was
that
very
one
clear.
question.
Yeah.
It was a combination of working with some mentors too. Fred Parker from Washington County is a great mentor down at the Treasurers Conference, and he's helped me, and as well as with the town of Culpeper's Howard Cartel. Great assets for me to be able to bounce off ideas, and obviously too with the finance liaisons, getting them to kind of challenge some of the thinking, and at the end, it all works out for it's better for the town. So appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right, so we are now going to move on to the final draft of the revised strategic plan and top 10 priorities on page 46 through 52. Emily?
Yes, thank you. Okay, has everybody had a chance to review the few comments that were on there?
Yes.
Does council have any additional comments to add this evening?
Joe?
How'd you know I was reaching? I wasn't even reaching yet. Hello. So the first comment, let me say thank you to the PC for their thoughtful
Yes.
comments and what have you. I think it was really good that you guys provided some feedback on this. I don't know if we had any other feedback or I don't think so. I don't see any. So the comment from the PC, are the values aligned and applicable to the town of Haymarket's vision? So you have any thoughts on that, Emily?
I believe it was specifically on inclusive. Is that correct, Kim?
Right.
Yes, it was specifically on the word inclusive. And I think that was a thought-provoking question. It was a question that was stated, and the person was asking and questioning to ensure that council has thought through that all of the values listed are those that reflect our community.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts on it?
So a couple of the values, we say collaborative, effective, right? And we say transparency, should it be transparent? We say fiscal responsibility, should it be fiscally responsible? We say accountability, should it be accountable? Or does it matter? And community, right? When you say value community, what does that actually mean?
And I guess it could be a question of, is it, what verb tense is it in? Do we practice accountability? Is it a verb? Or are we accountable?
Either way.
Yeah. The reason I'm pointing it out, again, we say collaborative, effective, right? But anyways, other than that, just that the community value, what does that actually mean? We say our value is community, right?
Community oriented?
Yeah, community oriented. I think I would also question, what does council mean by effective?
Yeah. I mean, we want to be effective in everything that we do, right?
Right.
Responsive, effective,
Yeah.
Efficient.
efficient.
So I guess
Present,
is a
present
better,
with the site of the future, like,
so is there a better word that should go there possibly than effective?
and I think community is neighborly.
Shift.
And
I-
community,
I-
should it be,
Yeah.
should it say like community oriented? Is that a better value word or phrase?
Oriented or focused.
Community
Community
focused?
focused,
Yeah.
yeah.
Focused is a good one.
So I think all of them need to be reading in action,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
Most
if
of them
they're
are
like-
action
Right,
oriented,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So we love actively. So we are present actively.
Inclusive, I think the feedback I got was on the inclusive one too, Emily. And I think I understand what that means. I mean, in a sense, welcoming, right?
Mhm.
More than, I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. But inclusivity, meaning we include everybody, nobody is,
Nobody's left out.
Yeah.
It's everyone's hometown.
so.
I would agree.
So inclusive to everyone? Do we want to put phrases
I
in
was gonna
there or
say, are
do we
we
want to
needing
make these?
expand as opposed to
words?
just a word?
I think
Yeah.
singular words or two-word phrases would be fine. I think that's most common, what's seen. I would say if we're focusing on verb tense, it probably shouldn't read community focused because that starts getting past tense. So is it community driven? Or are you okay with it being focused?
I like community
I
driven.
think community driven.
Community
Because we're
driven?
driving,
Community.
Because we drive within the business community, we drive within our
Okay.
neighbors.
like focused on, like driven towards that.
I don't think you need to add any additional words to inclusive. I think that
Mhm.
does speak to what council does and how you approach the community and your events, your meetings, your governance, inclusive governance,
Well, the way
if you want a second word.
keep it simple.
I like,
Oh, ooh.
Inclusive governance.
because our community is inclusive,
Yeah.
right? Our businesses are, like, we would welcome everybody. I don't think the government, like, I feel like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
don't
it's
know that I
necessary.
like, yeah, I don't know that I like that idea.
Maybe that's something to think about. I mean, you're looking at.
Why don't we do
this-
this? Emily, let's use AI, right? We have a policy.
No.
I
No, we have-
No.
I appreciate our individual and our unique thought that we put into this.
That was.
We did good,
so
guys, as a
funny,
group
Alexander.
of us.
As-
We did good.
Is that not allowed according to the new policy?
I am challenging us to say we don't need it. We can be better than that. Okay, so let's jump ahead. We'll come back to that, okay? So comment from the PC, page 47 in your packet. Is there going to be a discussion of adding a goal or strategy for a community center? So specifically, a member of the PC asked if the town had any plans to put in a community center. I don't believe that
I
we
don't
do.
think-
To
I don't-
answer
I
the
mean, I
question.
don't think that was part of our planning.
No.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was not part of the planning. What we are working to achieve is the implementation of the town park. That does include a public charrette period of time at the very beginning of that project to work through it with the public input. I think that could be an opportunity in that phase for the public to add
Voice
this
their opinion.
request and voice
Yeah.
this request.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
When Chief comes back, we can specifically ask him this. I wanted to ask council's opinion. So we have achieved the Valepsi certification, the initial one. So I think at a minimum, 3.4 needs to be modified to reflect that we have achieved that. And we're in that maintenance mode. With the other items that we've achieved, we moved it to the back of the document into a maintenance section. So if applicable, I would like to remove 3.4 and place it on what's packet page 50, and it would be the kind of update of what has been completed.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
A friendly amendment?
Yes.
I would agree with moving it, yes, but it's also something that's going to be actionable going forward too, maintaining
Mhm.
that accreditation. So should it remain in the SBP as a maintenance effort? I think.
I think yes.
3.4's wording to
Yeah,
just
to
maintain.
just
DP
maintain it.
DPS
Yeah, but
certification.
We can move the
So have it in
initial.
two places.
The man of the hours here. Let's ask him.
Yes.
We'll have it in two places.
Perfect time.
Well, it wasn't closed session, so I guess I'm.
We're discussing in the strategic plan, packet page 48, 3.4. The initiative was to achieve initial Valepsi certification and maintain certification every 4 years. How would you best recommend it be rephrased to keep it in here as an initiative of maintenance, that we maintain the certification? You can visualize it. It's right there in pink.
I would go with
Maintain.
I would, yeah, annual certification reports for Valepsi on 4-year terms.
There you go.
So it shows the annual, but then it also shows the full term.
And says,
So have it in two places or just
Yeah.
the
Just
one?
Maybe just leave it in the one.
In the one? Okay,
Under 3.4 with his rephrasing.
yeah,
okay,
I like it.
So,
Works for me.
Works.
okay.
Works.
yeah, because it notes
It's
the annual and the 4-year term.
How you just.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
This way it stays focused.
Yeah, I
No,
don't want to lose
driven.
sight of it.
Not focused.
Driven. Okay.
Driven.
Driven, not focused. To maintain.
Are there any other initiatives or strategies that need updating? Anything that council sees in there?
Anything that anyone else sees?
No.
I feel like we've been working on this for a long time.
I know. No?
On page 51, we talked about removing the average response rate.
51,
Hey,
packet page.
Back at page 51.
on our strategic plan?
We talked about removing those response averages, right?
Give me 1 second.
Sorry.
You're
Oh,
fine, you're
that
fine.
right
Yeah,
column.
the scores.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
I thought we
scores.
were gonna add them all. No?
Oh, here, yeah.
Okay, so completely strike the scoring.
Last column.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not necessary. That was more of an internal metric, right?
Mhm.
For placement.
So then I'm going to remove the last sentence of the introductory statement.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to strike the italicized language under the title.
The lower response values.
Correct. And then I think in that nature, do you want me to go ahead and strike the 2 asterisks? I would like to recommend striking them because it was a note in time of where we stood. And so once this gets adopted, that information becomes stale as we progress on it. So I would like to remove that if that's
I concur
acceptable.
with that.
Okay.
I know, I'm using some big words there, I
No, no,
know.
I was going to say 1A, 1B, but no, I won't start that discussion again. Sorry. No, that's fine.
Is everybody in alignment with that?
So what I'll do is I'll clean up the final version. In our footnotes here, I will have it amended as of the date when I update the draft. And then it'll be on the council agenda next week for our March meeting with a resolution to adopt the amended version.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, is there anything else in regards to the strategic plan? We're good?
Yep.
All right. So Emily, can you take us into our AI policy on page 53, please?
Yes, so I've been working with Olan on a discussion regarding the use of AI in town offices for the town staff as well as for the police department. So Chief and I have looked over this. Certainly, this can be something we talk through right now. We can also have Olan give us some information on what they're doing at the state level that he was looking into. But any recommendations, any specific areas that council might want us to look further at? This is that moment to have that open conversation.
Cool.
I know that this came up during our TAMBY meeting,
Yes.
so I know that other towns are actually very active in looking into AI policies as well.
One thing I noticed in here was what AI to not use.
That's just about to say it's in.
But do we have a recommendation on which AI to use, since all AI is data mining and that's how they're making their money?
That's something we can include, Mayor. That's something we can include in the policy. There's a search engine or a chat bot you think is more safe than others.
Mhm.
We can include that you can only use that particular type. So it's ChatGPT, whatever it is you think is safe to use. We can make that very clear.
There's another reason for it as well, because I play in AI, not for my job, but I do play in it to learn new things about it. And you can ask the same question to 3 chatbots and get 3 different answers.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so we should probably stick to one and go with one. And I don't know which one it is though.
Matt?
You know.
And I think also from a
Yeah.
staff, I think also from a staff perspective, having insight from the council on what is expected and not expected. So from a personal standpoint, I don't use AI. It's not a tool that I've started utilizing, but I know that there are other staff members who do like to utilize it. So I think we also need to hear what is the expectation that council's starting to form on the use of a tool.
Yeah, and that's kind of what my question to you would be is, what applications do you see using this? I mean, truly, we're not going to be creating our own large language or linked language models that we're going to guardrail on. So what we're going to have to do is feed it information and say, with the scope, with our scope that I'm uploading to you now of work that I need done, write me an RFP. Those are the type of things we need to understand what you guys are going to use it for to determine what kind of guardrails to put on it.
And I think I would also ask Chief to add in here some on how the department would also be utilizing it as a tool.
One of the main reasons or ways that we would be using it is for either body worn camera or in-car camera footage. You can translate those scripts, as you will, or words into a report. And we have looked at some of the software, and now most of those companies that provide those services do provide their own AI-generated platform. Those would be some of the main ways. And of course, any type of report writing is advantageous. But it's the oversight that gets you. You got to make sure that the proper oversight is given, that the individual is actually reading the report, and it's not just the AI generation, because there could be misdata or inaccurate data that is transitioned into that. So rereading the report is utmost paramount. But those are the predominant ways that we would see using AI on the front right now.
Yeah. I'm assuming that you're going to be using AI features that are associated to the tools you are using, though, right? It's not like you're going to be feeding it out to the public chat bots because anything that you feed out to the chat bots becomes public.
It's out there. Right?
Yeah.
No, it would all be in-house.
So, yeah, I think when it comes to the tool sets, we're going to assume that the guardrails are already going to be in place by the company that, we're using our checks. It's kind of like Copilot, when I use Copilot for all my Microsoft products, right? It automatically just generates something for me. I don't give it any information or any company confidential information to generate.
Go ahead.
So I will speak on some of the treasures. This has been something the past 2 years. I've been going to these conferences and as treasurers in Virginia and in the national level I went to, this was a big point of conversation. As far as how I would use it and fellow treasurers use it is that we have a lot of sensitive data when it comes to the taxes and information. Many offices that I know, in fact, I attended the virtual district meeting last week. I will not name what cities, but our close neighbors, big cities, tend to use these programs for the macros. For some of them are not so experts in Excel, so they tend to try to use them for these formulas to kind of assist them in streamlining their work. One of the biggest conversations that treasurers have in district and director of finances do is just how much can we put in? And a lot of them, what we kind of do is that we really stick very to more not specific data. For example, I know at times when I want to get some ideas on an application or a formula, we just create a template and kind of run the scenarios how it would look. That's something that some of the bigger cities are using as well. There's also treasurers out there that have smaller offices that they use it to create applications. One of them actually, that was a conversation we had from Southern Virginia. And the main concern every treasurer there on that meeting was like, well, did you include anything that was, sensitive, that shouldn't be out there? And the response was no. It was just more of trying to streamline, because she's an office of one, to streamline some of the applications that she can do, update templates. So I think, as far as treasurers, I know that we tend to guide that rules as long as it's something very generic. We see it as a tool to help and assist. And at times too, question codes too, because it's a lot easier to get the codes, because it's public information out there. But one of the biggest things we do as treasurers is we verify on our own. There's times too where I've questioned Olan about it. Hey, can you verify this information? But yeah, it's. I think the policy is a good policy to use. I just think we just got to be very careful how it's used in practice.
What did you guys want to say?
Hold on, what are you kind of seeing in different counties and cities? Have you seen anybody else with their policies, or I know you can't disclose anything, but kind of guidelines?
This is the first one I've worked on, but I'll tell you that as an attorney, there's certain search engines we can use and certain ones we cannot use. There've been a lot of attorneys who've gotten into really big trouble using chatbots to draft briefs and to draft letters to folks, and they end up presenting them to a court. And then sometimes there's a hallucination in the chatbot, so it'll cite a case that doesn't actually exist, and the attorney turns it in and gets into major trouble. So I think, to your point, we need to be careful about the chatbots we're using, first of all, to make sure that they're trustworthy. Everything stays internal, right? So nothing gets out. But also, we've got to do our due diligence as well. You use a chatbot, you print something out, you've got to make sure it's accurate. Even though it's coming from that particular tool, it's only a tool. It's not the answer. It's not always the answer for you.
You have to do your
You
job.
have to do your job 100%. So.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that, because those are a couple of the same things I was thinking as I was reading it. And it was good that you added the executive orders from Richmond, from the previous governor, and the guidelines, because I think this is based on the guidelines, more or less, right?
It is.
So for me, the issue is, yes, it's a tool in the toolbox, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be totally reliant on the information coming out of that. And I think that's covered in this policy, right? That it has to be checked for accuracy, which is really critical, because I've heard reports of, upwards of 30-40% inaccurate, maybe even more. I don't know, because I really am not that familiar with AI as much as some of the folks here. The other thing is, as a decision-making model, right? Using this to help us in making decisions, whether it's a cost-benefit analysis or whatever you're using it for, that has to be carefully reviewed, because, as you say, you could have a hallucination in that data, and you're relying on that to make a decision that we would all vote on. So that's important to understand, again, the accuracy and reviewing it and what have you. And then, of course, the big Megillah is the personal data of our constituents and others. That has to be certainly protected. And I don't know how that happens, whether it's on the input side, are there firewalls to protect it? Don't know. I mean, that's not my field. I rely on you guys for that kind of stuff. But that's critical, people's personal data. So, and I think it's a good start. And frankly, I don't know would Ralph have some comments on this? Is this his kind of thing too, or no? Our contractor? No.
I don't know that answer.
Yeah, okay.
You had something?
So speaking for somebody who has done over 70 pilots for AI tools within the last 6 months, the 30% being wrong is probably pretty low.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing. And, as Councilman Capicello pointed out, one of the fun things to do is ask, OpenAI or, Copilot or any of them to cite their source. Which I think is a good practice. I think one of the things that I would add to this, if I could provide feedback, is that you ask AI to, and you can set this as a policy in any of the chat bots, that are out there, ask it to cite the source, all right? So that you have that. If it is citing another AI source, which it will do, ask a simple question. Are you sure? Ask it, relook at this and see what it comes back with. Too many times I've had that come back saying, you know what, you're right. Or ask it specifically. AI is about how we train it. And in particular, if we are going, one of our strategic priorities is about enhancing cybersecurity measures. I think that is key, is that it's too easy to go into the open AI world as opposed to the lockdown. So I would want to see us do a cost benefit analysis of implementing OpenAI's ChatGPT for Teams, which locks things down, or utilizing the Microsoft Copilot licenses we have as part of our Microsoft service. I think we really need to specify, to Councilman Capicello's point, what our authorized tools are going to be, and with an annual review, or maybe a 6-month review, even given how AI technology moves. But
no deep secret.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of where I want to get into as well. In the prohibited use, I know we talk about DeepSeek, but there is, and yes, we want to call that out, but I wouldn't just limit it to that. I think there are a lot of other restricted technologies that are out there that government agencies and certainly the Commonwealth has already banned. I think we should do some research and get what that full list is, and I think we should comply with the Commonwealth and frankly map to what their requirements are. If they're not allowing staff and elected officials to use that, I think then we should be following that same policy. Again, I just, a lot of the other comments that I had are very good ones as far as, data protection, privacy, certainly, personal identifiable information. We really need to get this right, because this is certainly it can be a great asset. It's a great tool. I use it every day. I'm utilizing AI, but you have to be really careful in how it's used. And I would caution us to be careful about what we adopt and be very specific about what we do.
A question for you, Emily, since I think you're driving this. Have you used Prince William County, their resources to determine what direction they're going, or?
I have not.
Because I think what we need to do is drive this to a higher authority, because we're all locals, right? Local yokels.
In my discussion with Olan, he was looking at the Commonwealths, and so you'll see that information in the following pages, but we can certainly reach out and see what Prince William County is doing.
Yeah,
on both not only administrative, but also on the law enforcement side.
Yeah, because I think the Commonwealth, it's too large an entity,
Okay.
so it's going to be very vast and particular. I think we need to try and shrink it down. And I think if Prince William's already started to shrink it down, we're better off relying on what they've put together more than statewide.
Okay, and I do know at our last TNV meeting, we did bring up AI and different automation tools, so we'll follow up with them. Some of the other towns are also in the process of working through policies.
Can I ask Matt a question? When you were talking earlier, did you talk about a review process?
Yes, every
Yes.
6 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should have a review. I mean, I would
At
encourage,
least annually, right?
at least annually. I would actually suggest biannually.
Yeah.
Just because, and I would also add as needed.
Okay.
There could be technologies that we adopt that get hacked, banned,
Right.
on a regular basis, and we've got to be able to adjust and adapt to that.
And
Vice
the
Mayor, if you
reason
look at
for
policy
when the-
9 on the review policy, if you,
Policy 9.
it's a policy review paragraph that talks about the fact we've got to review it annually.
Yeah.
So included that piece of it, but we can make it more robust. We can add more language to it if you like.
Yeah, I would just, yeah, I mean, I would just say, I would suggest biannually and with some type of a wording in there that says, or on a more frequent basis as needed.
And the reason why I asked that question is if you look at the guidelines, that's from 2024. There's been so many changes since 2024. I mean, my goodness, and it'll probably continue to accelerate, right?
No question about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to require more thought on that.
Emily, if we're using it or staff using it, is there, I don't even know are staff using like just one, or is everybody using a different one? Like, is someone using chat, then some using Gemini,
If
Copilot?
I had to guess, this staff member probably uses 2 different ones. And I think that's about it.
And that's all she's going to say.
Alexander?
Okay, a couple of observations based on what's currently in the policy, right? So section 5, we say town personnel shall not use AI technology to process confidential citizen information without proper authorization. I would put process sensitive slash confidential. Usually, I know Matt mentioned PI, personal information, sensitive personal information, that falls under sensitive personal information. I would also include confidential town information or data in addition to citizen, right? At least for now, until we get to maybe some sort of subscription service, what have you, right? We shouldn't be providing such information to ChatGPT, Copilot, what have you, the online versions.
Yes.
Section 6, we say the town shall safeguard all data processed through AI systems. Once we provide the information to the AI system, we actually lose control, right? It is up to the provider to safeguard that information. So let's see, we talk about privacy, respect privacy laws. That, to me, I know we're working towards this, but based on what we have in here, at some point, we're going to have our town staff take privacy-related training, right, courses. We say ensure personal and sensitive information used with AI technologies is handled with utmost care, which conflicts with the first part, right, of under section 5, prohibited use. We say AI technologies, personnel shall not use AI technologies to process confidential citizen information. Does that make sense? There's a conflict there. And then the last bullet in section 6, we say implement appropriate security measures to protect against cybersecurity threats. That is something that we need to work towards, right? It's not something that we're currently doing, at least that I know of. Right? But
We did a good job blocking my email.
so as of right now, those are just my
Okay, thank you.
observations.
Anyone
But
else?
what I was going to say is I think it's obvious that as of right now, when you're the staff using ChatGPT, Gemini, what have you, whatever information that you're feeding it, right? That information gets stored. It is also used to train the models, right? So just keep that in mind. So just let's be careful.
Train the model.
Are there any other comments for this evening?
I think
Yes.
Roberta, actually, one thing, I think Roberta brought up a good point that other jurisdictions are using it to help with creation of formulas. I think that's fine. Just don't plug the data in there. Just get the formulas. I use it for that a lot. It's create formulas. Help me figure out a weird formula. But I'm not putting data into it. I'm creating the formula for what I know it needs to do, and then I'm putting the data into what I'm working on.
From the
not
formula
AI.
that's created.
Yes.
And that's just it, however you're using it. If you're feeding it any data, like I said, if you're saying, here's the scope of work I need you to write an RFP for, it's already public information data. It is not anything customary or customizable to Haymarket in general.
I just like to say that the reason why too, the implementation and what Councilman Bayani was saying about staff being trained, I guess for the treasurers, myself, we have to take annual state mandated security about our jobs, about the sensitive stuff that we handle and access to. So I guess for me, I see that as a no-brainer as to like not get into the deep weeds on what we need to do, but I think that is a good thing we should probably consider. I think, in fact, everyone should probably have that, but.
So put that in there as in
Yeah, because
alignment with.
it's myself and fellow treasurer, we kind of follow what the state, the department, the Virginia Department of Taxation makes us do for many things, which we have to like be sure that we're not getting into the personal stuff that we don't need to, have access to or not, because we do have that access, but we have to like do an annual testing and recertification for it.
Anything additional? No? All right. Emily, are you clear with the changes in direction?
Yes, so I will bring that back at the March work session. So that'll give us time to
Kind
work
of
back through it
process and
again.
go through it? Okay.
I assume you're open to, there's some comments I have, I assume I can email you.
Yes, we can always set up a meeting and discuss further.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be happy to get involved in that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so now we are on to the next item, which is our training and travel policy for council and staff, starting on page 69.
Yes, okay, so myself and Roberta have been working with the finance liaisons as this kind of directly impacts what we budget and allot for when it comes to travel and training expenses for not only elected and appointed officials, but also for the town administration staff. So I've put together two different policies. They're both here in your packet. The first one is the elected and appointed officials policy. I will change that title to reflect training as well. You'll see that I left some comments that Roberta and I had. These were to kind of be comments that provoked thought from the council on how you guys would like to approach the approving process of training. Not only for your seated board, but also for the other ones that you appoint. Does this come down to the manager approving it? Is it the mayor? Certainly not rock, paper, scissors on who gets to go, but we try to think of different scenarios. One of the, I would say, harder parts of this is when we started looking at and thinking about the annual conference attendance. So specifically for the town council, when we think about all the different opportunities you have over the course of the year, the one that would stand out as your annual conference is the VML conference in the fall time. They do now offer two. They offer a small towns that is very applicable to us. It is geared towards a town like ourselves, but the annual one is held every fall. So I worked to put some language in here that's on packet page 70 of how we would go about selecting who would go and who kind of had the opportunity to be on the list at the top and who was closer to the bottom of the list when it came to selecting. I would like feedback on that from council. And then I also tried to specifically put in a couple examples throughout so that it was very clear for whomever is enacting this policy at a later date. So we can start there. If there's general questions or comments from the board, from the council.
I would love for us to have the issue of us all wanting to go and being able to go all at the same time to like kind of funnel down to that. The reality is that's probably not the case, but I do appreciate the thought process of a newer council person attending if that's what they were wanting, if everybody else was old hat, so to speak, and they wanted to go. So that new person should have that exposure and that training opportunity above if there were so many of us that wanted to attend. So I do like, I feel like the newer council persons need that exposure and that training. Not you specifically, I'm not looking at you.
No, I need it, trust me.
I'm just saying in general, and because I've attended a couple and I get so much from them when I go, I would want anybody who is newer to go in lieu of somebody who has been several times. So I do like that thought process. Anyone else?
Yeah. What is the max capacity it could go on any
It's our-
kind of?
I
Like
think
we
our budget.
seven?
The budget.
Budget.
The budget, yeah.
Like, is it?
And these things
Everybody can
change
go.
prices. Really, I think where you're going to be the most restricted is when it comes to the lodging portion of it, when it comes to the budget of that. It seems that more frequently they're holding things down in Roanoke, and that's the location they pick in Roanoke is not a cheap place to stay.
It's nice.
It is very nice. The conference center's right there, but so budgetary constraints is what's going to be for us is what's going to be the restricting factor.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
If there's no immediate thoughts on that one, Mr. Passanello?
I'm mulling it over.
Okay. I'm gonna, oh, go ahead.
I will say, thank you very much for at least putting it on paper and
Yeah.
getting it out there so people can think about
Starting
it a
point.
little bit.
Mhm.
I think it's going to take a little thought.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to kind of really cogitate a little bit and digest it and provide some feedback. That would be very helpful.
Yes.
But putting some
Yes.
parameters around it was really critical. Definitely cost is an issue. And you have some things in there that I thought were good as relative to, well, if it's not in the budget, you can entertain
Mhm.
maybe an amendment to the budget so that people could attend, but that the person would have to champion it. I thought that was all really good.
Yes.
So, I would like to see a little bit more on the virtual side. If there's possible for training, virtual training, like for Koya or FOIA or whatever folks are required to do. I get the whole thing about the networking and being in person and representing and
I think
learning
it's a
and
wide
all of that.
scope of what we're looking at as far
Yeah.
as training. Conference going is one thing,
Yeah.
but having opportunity to attend any
And I
training
can
is important.
And
Give a
then you-
data point on virtual, just really quick, since we're on that topic.
Okay.
For example, we're reaching out and there's somebody who is a specialist in an area of training that would benefit not only the council, but all of the boards and the staff. So we are looking at that opportunity to have them virtually attend from California to the tune of a couple grand in lieu of everybody going off and doing this more individualized training on their home computer. So we are trying to work on some of that and provide those opportunities. It's just then scheduling when it comes to that style of virtual training.
Well, I think the virtual training though, also for folks that are busy, full-time working and traveling for work
100%.
and don't have the opportunity to go to these events, if there's a way that we can get some of that brought to them in a virtual environment, that might be somewhat.
I think training virtually is 100% what we need to be looking at. Travel for conventions is that policy concept, right? And if VML did a virtual, that would be amazing. We could all meet here, but we're not in control of that.
Yeah.
And also, with the ARB, the boards, the councils and all that stuff, committees, we got to also take into consideration what we want to identify as required training as opposed to voluntary or
Yeah.
extracurricular training.
And we spent some time with finance talking about that, of how do you encourage those who are in those different commissions and board seats to attend the trainings, or sometimes it even comes down to they might have to take a day off of work to be able to do those. So we did have that conversation. If anybody has additional ideas, please bring them to us, because we are trying to figure out how to work that into here of what's required, what's not required, but what's highly encouraged kind of thing.
Anyone?
Continuing to work through the document here quickly, when you're thinking through comments you might have, please spend some time thinking about the approval process. So there was a question back and forth of, do we want to allow the mayor to be the approving body for training? Does that possibly cause any issue amongst different types of training? So who do we want to allow to be the approving body? There was a thought that possibly the town manager should be the approving body for specific training, as I would have knowledge on what would be most applicable to the position that the person is in. So give some thought to that on who you'd want to be the approving body. For meals and incidental expenses, we follow, yes, Joe?
No, I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
wait.
We followed the other policy we put together for the staff and what the federal government there does. If you have any thoughts on that, feel free. Transportation, we did the standard mileage rate. We are going to put a note in here, just because it's happened in our past, just to make sure to cover that if a road toll violation was experienced, that the town is not going to be reimbursing you for that expense. So you'll see Roberto and I's comments there between us, but that will be added in there.
I wish you would have told me that.
It's okay. We will also be including that on our policy as well. And their air travel, occasionally it's needed, but we did put in here that
Travel is travel, is the way I see it.
We did-
Sorry, put it in.
I agree.
Go.
Well,
Keep it in there.
we put it in here that, there's an expectation if you're within a certain mile radius that you would be expected to drive. We put that as 300 miles within the town office. So we left it in there. Who knows? We once had a staff member who went to Canada for training. That's been 9 years ago. So,
I
remember
North
Yep.
of New York City
so we
and
also.
down to South Carolina border.
We also put in here
Which is-
a section on ensuring that if an elected or appointed official went, that they fully understood that if they took a family member, guest, or spouse, that was not included, and we worked through those instances. I did put a thing here in bold that I want to make sure everybody reads and is aligned with. There are some more of your conferences that you guys would attend where the mayor or vice mayor position, it would be an opportunity or sometimes even expectation that they would have a guest with them. So I put a note in here on that. So please take some time to read that as well.
But it's so much fun going with the mayor and everybody thinking we're already married.
There you go. We have in here conference attendance and participation. So I just tried to work towards setting that expectation that if you were going on the town's dime, the expectation is you are attending the events that we sent you there to learn about and educate yourself. as well as some of the specific networking opportunities. I do think I put the example that you don't have to attend Sunrise Pilates if that's not your thing. So we covered those items, again, open to feedback and suggestions. And then
Sunrise.
on the very last item for councils, we have it stated in here, this is a placeholder that we're referencing back to the employee manual when it comes to if there's any restriction of conference or training opportunities. So there could be the rare occurrence that based on an evaluation or work quality or work deliverables that the employee could be restricted on going to opportunities such as this. I did not know if council wanted to put anything similar in and what it would relate back to. Here on the side, I had that it would relate back to council procedure policy. So question kind of amongst yourselves. I did put some jogging thoughts over here on the side and comments. But I think if we were getting into any of those types of scenarios of, I would say unprofessionalism, council would probably already be in a different position of talking about how to handle that on the council. So anything on the council one, right quick?
You want us to bring you some feedback?
I do. I would like everybody to bring me feedback. Again, this would be one I would put on March's work session. Roberta did remind me it's going to be a busy evening, but I think it's important we keep working through these.
Via email?
Pardon?
Feedback via the email?
Email, phone call, meeting, you name it. The next one is the employee one. So you'll see they are very aligned in how they are set up. I have it set up though that the employee must fill out a form requesting training to include, if available at that time of requesting it, a draft agenda, a short statement on why it would benefit them and their position. And so I have a little bit more upfront work that the employee will have to do to request the funding to go forward with the training. A little more detail in this policy on what type of training and what is applicable, how the credit card would be utilized, and relating that back to our purchasing policy that we have. We, again, cover the meals. We do provide some examples of what type of meals would be covered. It is noted that if the conference is providing lunch and dinner, for example, that, the expectation is that you are utilizing those meals. Transportation, again, very same conversation in here, as well as the air travel. A little bit more detailed on the hotel room and how that works out. So the expectation is you're going with the block rate that the conference or other training opportunity is set up. We don't cover room upgrades, et cetera. Again, explicitly covering expenses for spouse, family, or guests, stating that the expectation is not necessarily that you are taking somebody, and certainly expenses are not covered. Detailed on conference work time. I think that's been our biggest point that comes up of we just want to ensure that we're clocking work time the proper way. And so I tried to really define what conference work time was in this policy and how the staff member can then come back and log it in their timesheet. And then lastly, I did cover that there would be opportunity under work time. There would be the town manager, chief reserves the full right to question the hours and have further conversation with the employee on that work time that they noted. And then there was also a possibility that your training and conference times would be restricted. And so that's what Section 8 is there. So again, looking for feedback on this. I know these two are a lot to take in, but as you read them more in depth, you will see there are a lot of similarities across the board.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
From, from a competitive or, HR perspective, competitive or retention-based kind of discussion, how does this match up with other municipalities in the area? Best practice, things like that?
Pretty comparable. We can ensure, I spoke to 2 other towns. It is comparable in what they're also doing. There's been a little feedback that, well, when you go to conference, you're at conference, that's your work day kind of conversation. So there, I was trying to get some clarity specifically on those items.
That would be great.
And what I'm also finding is that other jurisdictions do their timesheets differently, or their pay record keeping differently. And so that played a factor in how we would handle it too.
Okay, and it seemed.
Just follow up on that one point, because I think it's important. I would also say that the compensation study that we're doing, because you mentioned about it being a fringe benefit, are looking at those different types of things
Good.
as part of the report that they'll, and recommendations and
Excellent.
options for us.
Oh, good. All right, excellent. And
And
I
I-
forgot my question.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I got on that point.
I have one addition that I do want to make, kind of came to thought after the agenda was posted. I do want to put in here language regarding if the town, for example, I'll use myself as an example. If the town were to offer compensation or pay for a certain type of certificate or a degree, for example, I know the federal government does this, that if you are paid for those courses that you do, that there's a time of service that you have to give back to that locality. We're a little different here on how positions are held, but I think we should still have some language that there's a time of service owed back. And if you leave, let's say you go get an associate's degree on the town's dime and you leave in a month or 2 months, there should be a recourse that you need to pay some of that fee back, if not all of the fee. So I want to work on some language. I know other jurisdictions out there have language like that to include state and federal language. We can always put in there a section on, if the employee were to be dismissed for other reasons, we can go through that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I agree.
I remembered my follow-up.
Okay, what's your follow-up, Joe?
So this is a policy that's across the board for employees,
Yes.
including PD.
Yes.
Okay, and Chief, you've looked at it. Okay. All right, I got to think a little bit about the educational one. The idea of I would think it would have to be related to the work that is performed for the town.
Certainly. Certainly.
Right.
And I think the council would have to think through, Chief, I'm going to use you also as an example. Like if Chief goes to the command college, how does that play into it? In my Women's Institute, I end up with a certificate from Virginia Tech. So do you see that certificate as a significant investment? Do you see the command college as a significant investment? And so what does the council define as that type of investment? Certainly, nobody's going to expect the council to pay for, certain degrees, that's on the person's dime.
Right. Okay. No, just wanted to put it out there.
Mhm.
I think it's nice to have that out there for you guys or for us to go out and get a certificate if it's for the background
Absolutely.
you're into, but
Absolutely.
then also at that same time, they're not leaving in a month and
Right.
we're stuck with the,
Well, thank you so much.
Investment.
yeah.
No, I think that language is needed. Alexander, did you have any questions? No? Anything else, Justin?
No.
No? Dave?
I will update that language and get the updated draft for the employee one out to council this week so that you have a clean version to read.
Okay,
Cool.
all right. And gentlemen on this side, no more questions?
Not for now.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we will go on to the draft of the communication and town services flyer. Please.
Alrighty, good evening, guys. Everybody has a draft of the communications one-pager. I'd love feedback on this. On the front page, you'll find all the different forms of communication that the town provides. I've also put the event schedule on the left for ways people can connect with us. And then at the bottom of the page, there's a QR code that takes you directly to the Contact Us page on our website. And then on the back, I have provided all the different services and programs that the town provides. If there's anything that you'd like me to add, or if you see anything that needs to be taken out, please let me know. All feedback. I noticed that the bottom of the page got cut off, so that'll be fixed. But anything else, I'd love all the feedback.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So on the back, in terms of the town services and programs.
Yes.
I see public safety services as well as crime prevention. So I'm just curious what the,
Yeah,
How to word it?
no, they.
You
does
feel
the
like it's
crime prevention
repetitive?
falls under public safety, right?
Two different.
Are they two different
Public
things or?
safety, crime prevention.
Let's ask the chief.
So we can certainly ask the chief to weigh in, but what I would recommend is maybe both of them be rephrased a little bit. I think it should be, one is geared a little bit towards residential side of things, and one can also be geared a little bit more towards businesses.
Okay.
I'd agree.
You
Chief
know,
agrees.
I'm sorry.
That's my feedback.
If I may.
Yes.
I think that's a great idea. One of the things that we have a benefit here that a lot of people don't realize is house checks. And how often is that being used? I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't aware of that. So as you do business checks, which is the commercial side, there is the house check for the residential side.
Justin, did you have anything?
I'm still with you. No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Dave, you good?
Since this is, on that note, since this is a document that's going to go out to the residents and the business community, I can work with Julia, and what we could do is we could put a brief 1-sentence, 2-sentence statement in each of these gray boxes to kind of further define what that service is that it offers. That can also help us advertise those house checks, the business checks, or some of those other features that we have.
Something I'm looking at, and Roberto's heard my grief on this more than one occasion, is the refuse and recycling collection. We got to get that figured out with the county, because we pick up for free, but if you go to the dump, you get charged.
Yes, you do.
Okay. But
That is correct.
But if you look at the county's website, it says Town of Haymarket is free, but when you go there, they charge you.
We clarified this, was it a year ago?
Yeah.
We clarified this a year ago, so I will get the updated website link. We'll do another kind of PSA on that again. I'll talk to my friend at the county, Mr. Shorter, again.
Yeah, the last time I went, I didn't get, maybe they overlooked the,
I
they did
think,
not charge me.
Yeah.
I
And in
think
terms of
in-
scanning licenses, they
Yeah.
charge.
I
They
think
scanned mine,
it
they didn't.
Really?
comes down to who's working
Working, yeah.
it that day.
And then
Yeah.
maybe putting collection times.
If they want to take the effort or not.
Yeah, we can have that.
Well,
Is
Just
this-
because we get so many new
Mhm.
people coming in and not all neighbors are sharing that information.
So I know it's related, but in terms of the collection time, I mean, they're coming like sometimes 5-something, 6-something in the
Yeah.
morning,
Gotta
and
get out early.
I mean, is that something that we can talk to them about? Or I mean, is
Well, now
that?
I know
I
I
was
wonder
gonna
if
say
that hits
that's
on the
their
noise
schedule.
ordinance, because this is
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
We
they-
can look back in the contract, if we had it stated, no earlier than, but, let me look into that
Yeah,
for you.
but to your point, I mean, the noise
Yeah,
ordinance,
that
right?
noise ordinance, when those things, machines are running, they're loud. When they're, especially when those compressors are going, compressing down all the garbage. I
Oh, when
mean,
they just take the garbage can.
Noise
cancellation.
Make a note for me.
The
I'm
noise
grateful that they
cancellation?
pick up my trash. I'm just-
Let me follow up with you guys on that.
Sleep with.
The
Anyone
county
else?
has
on this?
updated their website. I literally just went to the site and they do call out $5 per vehicle per trip.
Yes.
for Town of Dumfries, Occoquan, Haymarket, Quantico, and the cities of Manassas and Manassas Park. So they do call it out on their site now.
Yeah, last
That-
summer, early spring, I had reached out to them and we got some updated resources and we are charged. But we can make that very clearly noted. We'll also make note of how we handle yard waste. That's always a question we get a lot.
And then this is gonna go out.
So this will be, we'll of course release it when it's all cleaned up, final draft. We'll release it out in the next newsletter, but this will be that easy one pager, glossy, to use one of Ken's words, that we'll have available for any new residents, any new businesses that come in. It'll be a quick, learn more about the town.
Awesome.
I just had an idea here. Uh-oh.
Wait.
She'll understand this idea. Is when I first moved out here 29 years ago, like within a month of being here, somebody rolled up to my house with a basket saying, "Hey, welcome to Gainesville." Do we do something like that for like welcome to the town of Haymarket or something like that?
Mayor has always wanted a welcome
Always
wagon
wanted a
with
welcome
the
I knew she-
welcome
Always
basket.
wanted that.
So I
Sounds like
completely
a
understand the
mayor.
sentiment. I do think that would be a lovely gesture. I think it goes to show a small town feel. What we have problem with is we don't see the signs posted. We don't know when people necessarily move in. That's not information that we really receive.
Yeah.
We do have people who will come in. Of course, we know the new houses, right?
Right.
Like we see that. But when a house sells and somebody's moving in, we don't always have that
I
information.
wonder if we just partner up with some of the larger real estate offices.
Or HOAs.
Yeah.
You know when you've got new
Drive around
neighbors
town.
Oh,
coming in.
yes, because they're doing the
Yes,
checks on the
yes,
last person.
exactly. So
Matt knows who
if
to
we
talk
could
to.
like partner with that, that would be amazing. But that is something
We
that I've
had-
always
I
wanted to
think
do.
Mr. Pastanello might be asking about a HOA notifying us when new people move in.
That's an option.
Okay.
Actually, that's if the HOA even knows.
Right, that's what I was about to say,
Wouldn't
is
have
the
known in my house 'cause it was
HOAs.
a FISBO.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
you have to go in and apply for, you buy a house, you have to register with your HOA. So the
Right.
HOA
give
would
you-
know
They should
whether
know.
or not they are willing and able due to
but we're not
privacy
all
issues.
HOAs.
Right.
We're not all HOAs.
Well, and for those of us who don't live in an HOA, then it's just
Right,
that,
different.
but
There's
yeah.
areas of town
So
that
is
don't have
there
it.
any
Right.
data or data available from the county?
All closings are public
Sales.
information.
You know what? Can we
Who's
ask
monitoring that day?
ChatGPT?
who's monitoring that?
Don't
Can we
leave
use
that
ChatGPT
all-
No.
We
I think
can-
that it's a wonderful idea that,
Yes.
you know, with
That-
the appropriate bandwidth, I think would be
Right.
great.
That aside, I will say, staff's worked hard on pulling together new resident folders, new business folders, so that when we do have those members who come in to ask about the town or get their vehicle decal, whatever it may be, maybe pay a late real estate tax bill that they just got, we are handing them that information. This will be part of that as well. So we do the welcoming effort when they do come in.
All right, anything else?
One more.
Yes, sir.
If we are going to kind of focus on like the new people coming in, could we put like Art Van Gogh or the museum kind of like kid-friendly stuff that we do?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, I was thinking
Good
like,
idea.
making sure in the welcome back thing that we're explaining the businesses that are within town
Yeah.
limits, you
Make
know.
a flyer since she's in our
Right.
museum.
That was what I was gonna say.
Also, we have,
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of opportunity too, from summer concert to Haymarket Day, getting
Yeah.
up and just saying, if you have a new neighbor, let us know, kind of thing. So it will have to be organic, grassroots, so to
Yes.
speak.
Each of you can help us keep
Yes.
eyes on your streets when you do your nightly walks, daily walks, when you get on your e-scooters.
No.
Alexander has one more question.
Oh, yes.
So sorry.
So I noticed one of our goals is to create and distribute a town service one pager. So would this count what we're doing with this? Would that count again? Okay.
Yes, that's
All right.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And as part of that, I know that we do have a listing of town businesses. We do have that brochure. How often do we update that?
Annually. So what we announced at Business Roundtable last week is that we're in that business license renewal phase. Those are due April 30th. We try to submit our update to that pamphlet mid-May so that we catch a couple of the latecomers, and then we get that reprinted and put back out.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep. And then farmers market will be revamped once Julia has all of her new vendors and all their information. So that'll go back out. So we'll keep both of those current as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, super excited about farmer's market, by the way. Yay. All right, are we ready to move on
That's a
to?
surprise.
Is that a shock to everybody? All right, so we are going to move on to our proposed ordinance on the town park. Or don't?
Sorry, draft proclamation.
Oh, okay.
Cross month.
So we had a gentleman reach out to us that they were interested in the town doing a proclamation for the American Red Cross Month in March. So we have that draft proclamation ready. If there's any suggested edits or changes, just please let us know. Otherwise, that will be on our agenda for Monday night. And we will have a representative here for that proclamation.
Any
Representative
questions,
from the
concerns?
American Red Cross will be here.
Yes.
So something I think I brought up in one of the other work sessions was CPR training. Can we work with them to get some CPR training?
Let me talk to Chief because we also have somebody on staff that is able to provide certain trainings. We actually took a wonderful training with him on stopping the bleed.
Yeah.
We're,
Different things, like, but those are.
yes,
that's another
yes,
one right there,
we
yeah.
are all professionally trained to stop the bleed
Great.
with Uncle Matt. Yeah, we'll work with Chief on some different opportunities like that. One of the things we thought was really important was for our volunteers, especially for like you guys who volunteer with us ahead of our big events, to have those types of training. Mhm.
Right, anyone?
Anything else on
Quick
American?
question.
Red?
Sure.
Just for my education, in terms of proclamation month, is it limited to one proclamation per month, or how does it work?
It is
No.
not limited. And for example, the county they'll do a lot.
Okay.
Sometimes dozens.
Yeah, sometimes dozens.
Okay.
And usually what we do is we let people reach out to us. We have a couple that we do all the time. So come April, we'll have the Child Abuse Awareness Month that will come up. Dominion Women's Club, they are always a sponsor of that. And so they come to us and ask us to do that annually. They're the ones who put the pinwheels out. So yeah, we have a couple groups who specifically come to the town and request.
Thank you.
Yes, Alex's Army for childhood cancer awareness in September.
But again, we can have multiple proclamations within a month.
Yes,
The same month.
yes,
Okay.
yes, we
Alright.
can.
No.
Proclamation for. Okay.
Okay, now we
Anything
can
else
go
with
to
it?
the park.
Yes.
All right. Chief, will you, oh, is that you? Okay, okay.
Oh.
We're tasking Sergeant Burgoon with some good administrative work.
Yes.
Love
Good
this.
evening, Madam Mayor, council members.
Love seeing
Thank you for letting me talk tonight. I promise to be brief. I know it's late. I think the chief actually gave me a warning to be brief. Do I have the clicker for the? Are you gonna keep up? All right. Challenge accepted. So I've been in. So I told you I was gonna be quick. So I've been in some conversations with the chief and the town manager about the need for restricting access to our parks at night. So that's kind of what I wanted to present to you tonight. If you can skip to slide 3. Thank you. You went too far. Yeah, go back one more. Now ahead one more. There we go. So of course we know a big asset in town is our town park. You can drive by just about any time during the day and see people utilizing that park. Families, we have events that we do every year there. Unfortunately, when it becomes dark time is where it becomes a concern for not just the police department, but the neighbors that surround that park. So I know you received some resident feedback about concerns about nighttime loitering, noise disturbances. potential vandalism, stuff like that. Of course, Haymarket, we enjoy a low crime rate. So we don't see the same issues that we maybe see in larger cities or even on the national level. But there's a reason why we have such a low crime rate. And I think it's the proactive police work that we do. This is just going to help and aid us on the enforcement side of it. So really what this came out of is, for example, if we do a park check at 11:30 at night and there's 20 kids up there, there's nothing that we can do to tell them to leave. They are lawfully allowed to be there. If you have any questions, you can stop me at any time. Now, if they're under 18 and it becomes after midnight, then there's a state law that would come into effect. It's the curfew law. But before that, we really have no enforcement action. So if we get called there, say a resident complains about noise and we ask them to leave and they tell us no, there's really no, that's pretty much the end of the enforcement. All right. So I pulled a couple stats. On the national level, you'll see the darkness significantly elevates risk for key crimes. I think it's no secret that when it's dark out, crime tends to rise. Parks are a potential crime attractor on the national level when unmanaged. Neighborhoods adjacent to parks show a 26 to 64% higher violent crime rate and a 38 to 67% higher property crime. This is based out of, again, big cities: Austin, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Francisco. A well-designed park reduces crime overall, but unmonitored nighttime access reverses those gains. So what it's saying is basically having a park is good for crime reduction, but when it's left unattended overnight, sometimes we lose what we gained from it. On the state level, this is Virginia State's crime stats. 56% of violent crimes occur at night. Property crimes also spike. 49.8% of the violent crimes in residences. A significant portion of those are in public outdoor parking lot, roads, etc. A key takeaway from this, again, is nighttime equals peak risk period for crimes that could occur in an open public park. If we go to Prince William County and Haymarket, violent crimes in Prince William County, 61.2% occur at night. That's between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Total crime is 50.8% at night. Robberies at 50.2% at night. Overall crime rate, there's a 39.3 incidents per 1,000 residents. Again,
Question.
yeah, absolutely.
So if it's 50.8% at night, does that mean it's 49.2% during the day?
That's what I deduced from that, yes.
I just have to, because it just,
Yeah.
okay.
Again, at Haymarket, we have a low volume, but there are documented residential complaints, not just before you, but to the police department as well. We've had no major incidents as of yet, which is the perfect time for us to be preventative. I think the council's been very good at being preventative and allowing us to be preventative. A lot of the measures that the chief has taken has allowed us to be preventative, and we've enjoyed that low crime rate for a long time. So we kind of discussed what the problem is. How are we going to fix it? So crime reduction, what I'm asking the council to do is to enact an ordinance that would limit access to the park from sunset to sunrise. This is based off of the CPTED, access control. CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Designs. This is basically something that you would control when designing anything, but specifically here a park. So that could be street lights, fencing, even shrubs. The easiest example that for even your homes to use CPTED would be to remove the bush that's in front of your window so the bad guy can't hide behind it while he's prying open your window. With renovated and controlled parks, so those are, programmed nighttime use, like LA Parks, they have it after dark where it's controlled, they stay open. It did reduce the crime. However, small unprogrammed parks like ours, full closure is the proven and effective method. You see a 92% crime drop. Additional community benefits, public safety and liability. There's fewer risks for accidents at night, trips and falls, lower risk of injury, lawsuits on town property. Maintenance and preservation, there's less risk of litter, graffiti, and damage, lower cleanup costs and longer park lifespan. That includes on even the equipment, because most of the time when we see kids there during the day, they're this big, on the playground equipment. When we see them at night, they're this big. Noise reduction for neighbors eliminates late night gatherings, loud music, and disturbances, directly addresses the resident complaints. And then the environmental allows nocturnal animals to do their thing at night. It's the proposed ordinance. I won't read all of it. I'm sure we'll get it to you. So it's essentially asking the park to be closed from sunset to sunrise, and any violators, of course, would be asked to leave.
So what would be the penalty?
So that's a good question. So if, for example, at 11 o'clock at night, we have a bunch of kids that are acting loud and unruly and we ask them to leave and they say no, they could be charged with trespass. That would be the enforcement action that we could take.
Depending on their actions, not to interrupt, sorry, depending on their actions, you would also have disorderly or whatever they're doing there. If it happens to be of criminal behavior, yeah, drinking or whatever else. So it depends on the supplemental charges, but that would be the teeth right there. You know, you have the opportunity to leave and don't come back during these hours, or you have the opportunity to go down to the adult detention center.
So should we include that in the ordinance?
Well, there should be a penalty phase. And of course, I wanted to say that this is just the proposed ordinance. We wanted to run everything by OLOM, but obviously did not want to do that prior to council saying yay or nay and incur unneeded legal funds or legal invoices.
Next steps like signage and placement and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Next step.
And the spirit of this is not to see somebody there after dark and take enforcement action.
Right.
The idea behind this is if they refuse to leave, we have more enforcement action available to us.
But you have to have,
Correct.
Right.
you have to have some teeth behind it too.
Right. And that's just it. We wouldn't have any teeth. So
And there is an added benefit to doing this before the park project would begin.
Yes.
As,
Right.
you know, then
Get
it's
people
not just
back
the
on.
fact of
Exactly.
any material or things there that we would want to protect, but then after the fact is we want to protect the investment that the council's made into the facility there and the property itself.
As a small aside, I will happily announce in a lot of the RFP proposals, they mentioned, did you call it SEPTED? But they were very specific on wanting to do designs that incorporated that into it.
SEPTED is tried and true with crime reduction.
Yeah.
So enforcement implementation, can you go back to one slide? I'm sorry. We would be posting signs up at the entrances of the park and even in the parking area. That's advising them of the park hours. It would be up to council if you wanted to add to that sign something to the effect of trespassing after dark. Officers would have the ability to take enforcement action as a last resort. And then we would allow for, or this ordinance that's being proposed would allow for permit applications for after hours activities. So whether that be something that the town is doing or the residents want to do, it would go through the town manager. It would also allow town staff and police officers to be at the park at night during the course of their duties. So we wouldn't be violating our own ordinance. Okay. So it's our recommendation to adopt some type of proposed ordinance. It's data-driven prevention of nighttime crime risk, direct response to residents' concerns about noise and loitering, and protects our small town quality of life and park investment. Also aligns with our mission of proactive public safety and community partnership. So with that, any other questions?
Alexander, do you have a question?
So, question for Joe. If I understand you correct, are you proposing including in the ordinance penalty or consequence if,
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. We should have some kind of.
but do we
so
normally,
people would understand.
we do normally include?
Yes, even
Okay,
for
okay,
overgrowth of weeds, we have
okay.
what the recourse is.
Did you say weeds?
Weeds.
Overgrowth of weeds.
Whoa.
Okay.
I was only doing it for a friend.
I have a question. Do we have anything right now that deters anybody from going there? Like say right now?
Our officers patrols. So at nighttime, we'll go through the park with our spotlight on and make a presence known. But other than that, it's not lit. So it's very dark up there.
But like you said, you can't force anyone
Force
to.
anyone.
Right, so
leave,
let's
right?
say it's 3 o'clock in the morning and we find someone in the car, which happens. That's
Yeah.
where they chose to have date night. And we ask them to leave. There's really nothing saying that they have to leave.
I have a couple questions. One, what are we going to define as sunset and what are we going to define as sunrise? Will it just be the National Weather Services times?
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm cool with it. And then the next question I have is it any town-owned property or any park property within town limits? So some of the HOAs do have park areas. Will that be included?
It can be, but quite frankly, this is just for the park.
Okay.
And then you get into a big open can of worms there because, like we're having a meeting here right now. And so now, or is council itself having to put an application in to hold something in park or, park outside or communicate outside? Be better just to stick with the park.
I just think
But
of-
if there was future problems or future issues, then yeah, we could
Just think of the
expand on that.
gazebo at Green Hill Crossing where they found the person asleep in the middle of the night.
Correct.
Things like that is where my brain goes.
Gotcha. Yep. So.
I do have
Anybody else?
one more question.
Go ahead,
Is there
Chris.
anything we could do now to deter, or I know your police checks, but you got all of Haymarket kind of patrolling. Is there any kind of lighting or any kind of thing we should put up now?
Oh, I'm sure I think there was a light pole there even. I'm not sure. That would probably be a better question for town staff.
I'm not sure.
I think my only statement would be this can move fast enough that we can do the appropriate actions and this can be passed sooner rather than later. So I think just the continued patrols and appropriate reporting when we can.
They're already doing the
Right,
work.
right.
It's just, this isn't allowing you that extra step of enforcement.
It's giving them a tool in their toolkit.
Yeah,
Gives the
exactly.
teeth.
Exactly. Exactly. Matt?
Just out of curiosity, do we have statistics on issues that we have had up there and reportable incidents? Do we have those statistics?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure we probably could dig into the weeds a little bit and maybe get you something.
But we've had a couple more.
We have had
calls.
incidents there. I don't know that we've ever pulled like a report based on just the park.
If it's an offense, then it goes into an RMS system, our records management system. If it's a contact, then it basically goes into our daily rundown. Now we can search the address, right, to see if there is anything in RMS, but most of the time it's just like Sergeant Burgoon was saying. You'll find somebody parked there. You'll find some kids hanging out. You'll find some people just walking their dog through the park. So it's a contact just to make sure everybody's okay. They're not doing anything nefarious. There's no reason to act on anything. There's no teeth to act on anything. And so so yeah, you're going to have those contacts in there. And there's times where you want the people to move on, not the people necessarily walking their dog. Not that it's a great place to do that at the middle of the night because you can't see nothing up there. But in the other instances, you still have those contacts and you would prefer, especially if it's date night, move on from there. So we could pull the data just to see how many times we've had contacts there and anything in RMS as well, just by searching the address. So I can't get that, but I can tell you that, like Sergeant Burgoon said, there has been many times that we've come into contact with people up there.
Okay, thank you.
But nothing nefarious to my knowledge. Nothing, not destroying anything or doing anything nefarious.
Alexander?
So, question about, he asked about possibility of including other town properties with this ordinance. I think I see in here it says including any town-owned parking area. What does that mean?
As far as a parking area, you would include anything that might be owned by the town. Say that there was something going on at the museum, or there was date night at the museum, so to speak. That is a parking area. They're not actually inside the museum, but they're on the lot parking. So you could include that to say, hey, you need to move on. This is not a place for you to be sleeping or having date night. Parking area.
Okay, so the proposed park ordinance would cover the town park as well as any town-owned parking area.
Right.
Okay.
Because obviously that's an open air environment up there. This, here, Town Hall Museum is not open air environments. They're inside, except for the parking area.
Anyone, Jeff?
So next steps, right?
What are you looking for? And we're going to have to do a public hearing because it's an ordinance. So what are the next steps? When did you want to start moving with it?
I don't want to speak for the town manager, but I would say the next step is to get it in, if with council's approval, to get it into Olan's hands, so that we have something, the document that we're going to use, that we put into the ordinance or make the ordinance and then put in the Muni code as well. And that way it's what we're presenting is what's going to be at the end of it as well. So that would say where we need to go is like a move forward and then present to Olan and let him come back with a report on this is the ordinance and now we're ready to move forward with hearing.
I would agree. So March work session, we'll try to have the draft ready to go for council's review. And then if it's amenable that night, we'll set a public hearing date and go through the public hearing process.
Cool.
Because that'll put us most likely at a May public hearing, just based on how the newspaper and everything goes out.
Which is park season, so to speak.
Can I make one more comment?
Yes.
Hey, Chief. Great job, by the way, Chip. Thank you.
Very good job.
Good job.
That emblem for accreditation, that would be a nice challenge coin, I think.
It would, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that?
It
Yes.
would.
Well, yeah.
It would.
Did you guys make
Fuck
it
somebody
using
fuck
that?
No.
Are you sure?
Stickers have been ordered for the cars. So we're just waiting for them to appear.
Yes, you did.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank you. And council, we do have 2 closed session items, and I believe someone on the dais has it. We will be quick.
Madam Mayor, I move that the Haymarket Town Council go into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A8 for consultation with legal counsel regarding the specific legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel related to Town Park RFP and pursuant to the Virginia Code 2.2/3711A1 for a personnel matter involving the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the town, specifically dealing with the police department.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. We're up.
We're up now.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I move that the Haymarket Town Council certify that in the closed session just concluded, nothing was discussed except the matter or matters specifically identified in the motion to convene in closed session and lawfully permitted to be discussed in a closed session under the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act as cited in the motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nope, we have to do a roll call vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Casanello,
Aye.
Thurston,
Aye.
Gallagher,
Aye.
Vader,
Aye.
Capella,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Vianney.
Aye.
Mayor, if I may suggest, if there is no objection, we direct staff to take action as directed in the closed session.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
I don't get to object.
Okay. Next motion, who's going to
Motion to
grab it?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
You.
Good job, y'all.